Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. Tonight we are live with Justin Dow, and as always, cheers to those of you who have your favorite beverages, because we're family friendly tonight and we keep it classy when we can. We like to cover up with channel lock when and where available. Justin's dodging the Dodger blue over there, and we really like that color. It's looking smoking hot on him tonight.
Oh, I can't go too deep because this is just a warm beer.
You need a bigger beer, Justin.
You need a bigger beverage.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
I will try my best to be on my best behavior. The tongue is a slip of the wrist. So I will try my best.
It's life. It happens. What's up, Neil? We got the maintenance man joining us tonight. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your Saturday. I know, my wife was able to join me tonight. Justin, his wife, just got home from work, and it's one of those things right now in this current environment. If you have to work and you're in healthcare, there's a lot of work going around. So we really appreciate the things that your wife does, Justin, as well as you taking your time out. Neil, it's really interesting, his industry that he works in, which this is a good one to be on tonight, Neil, because we're going to be talking about budget tools, some of the budget tool brands that are out there, some of them that you might already use or some of them that you never heard of. So it's going to be a nice live stream. And we got Justin with us. We also got Jeff. He just joined us. And if I remember, Jeff might do some reviews of stores and things of that nature. I remember some of the ones that I watched that Jeff did. I believe it was maybe some Costco walkarounds. He does some home remodeling and things of that nature. So that's always pretty cool.
We love Costco in this family.
Lucky for me, in fact, my wife, she's not in the medical area. My dad is, but my wife, she's in hotels. So she works at a hotel. But yeah, no, she's lost a little bit of hours. I've lost a little bit of hours. My dad, he's gained a little bit of hours because of the whole thing, right? To be expected when it comes to Medicare and stuff like that. As far as upcoming stuff, I don't know. Well, we'll just see where it goes. But with budget tools, lots to discuss when it comes to budget purchasing, whether it's DIY, mechanics, or full-on professionals working at dealerships or fleet world. Let's do it.
Oh, man, Jeff, that's a bummer. Costco doesn't let you film anymore. So that's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because it's interesting that they can actually get away with that because you pay a membership to go there. So, like Walmart and things in general, but we're going to talk about tools, but this is an interesting topic here that I like to mention because you pay a membership. So not everybody can go in there. So, you would think it's a public place. Because of that membership, it allows them to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And that is going to be one of them. Now, the one caveat to maybe get around that is, while you're still going to show it on YouTube, they're still going to see it. They might know who you are. But if you give your phone to a kiddo or somebody and you're just like, haha, kids, don't video me, but yet the kids are videoing you, you might be able to get away with it. We always really like Costco for the samples. But if you haven't heard, this time right now is tough, not only for people in general, but Costco in general, because they laid off all of their demonstrators. So everybody that was given samples, they all got let go and that business was severed. But Costco's got some smoking deals on one of their DeWalt toolkits right now. So why don't we just crack things off with, DeWalt's pretty well known. Justin, what are a couple brands that you don't know a whole lot about or you've recently just heard about? Maybe I know about them or you're interested in them.
I'll say my number one priority, if we're talking about Costco specifically, I would say I'm very interested to know how well Torin has done with the production of their tool cabinets. Now, 10 years ago, one of the first major cabinet purchases that I ever bought was a Torin sold by Costco. I don't know if Costco still offers a top and bottom tool chest cabinet, but if they do, I'd be curious to know what it is that they're offering and how much they have to offer it, and how, or if it's even worth mentioning going towards some of the other competitors out there like Husky, DeWalt, or Milwaukee.
Yep. So I'm going to have my wife kind of answer that first, because it's always interesting to get her perspective if she even catches the things like that at Costco or can remember them. But wanted to say, hey, Dale, thanks for joining the live stream tonight. That guy, I just love all the modification he does to his 5-door Harbor Freight service cart, as well as old school repair shop. He's joining us tonight. Really appreciate you guys doing that. So, honey, you know, we frequent Costco. Can you remember the last time you saw any toolboxes that they had there, or maybe what I did with the kids?
Oh.
Okay, so
why am I not remembering?
So she can't remember. So
okay, I have not been to Costco in like a month.
So when the Icon Toolbox first came out in the stores,
yeah,
there was some Yahoo that went and stood in the toolbox and laid in the toolbox at the Harbor Freight store. But ever since I've done that and the kids have watched my video, they want to do that every time they see a toolbox.
Yeah.
So Costco does have toolboxes every now and then, but they kind of rotate them out with the seasons. So when you see them, you got to either jump on them, and if they go marked down once, they're gone. And so the last one, and Jeff might be able to remember this, they did have something that was comparable to that 36 to 40, 41 inch, 44 inch from from Cobalt at Lowe's. And it was actually reasonably priced. It was about $100 cheaper. And then they marked it even down more to about $498. And so to me, it's in that same range of Cobalt products, as well as the Milwaukee toolbox. Those have very, very similar aspects when you look at the top, how the top opens up on it. And then they also do have a stainless steel, is it a 72 inch? But it doesn't have a toolbox that can go on top of it. It's just a wood top. And they're actually pretty competitively priced. The thing is if you don't have a truck or you don't have anything, but I guess that's really no different than if you buy it at Harbor Freight, or if you bought it at Home Depot, you'd still have to figure out how to logistically get it home.
Yeah. I don't remember the price. I don't even remember what it looked like. All I can tell you is that I got pictures and videos of my husband like opening and closing the drawer at Costco with the kids inside of it. So I knew that they had them. I honestly thought you were going to come home with one.
Yeah, the stainless steel with the wood top, it wasn't bad. We got Shaka Gillis in here. Oh. I don't even have to read his message. I know that he's going to say Ryobi's trash. And
no,
wait,
garbage.
Oh, my bad. He changed it up. Shaka Gillis, come on now.
Well, thanks for your $2 super chat, and thanks for joining the live stream tonight.
Anyways, the stainless steel one, you know, it's not bad. I mean, it's just not something that I would do. It's just too big. I don't have a ton of space. So I would look specifically at 56 and under, but maybe more like the 36 inch to 40. That would be what I would hone in on as a homeowner, DIY, something like that. Well, it looks cool. You can always add accessories to it, like side cabinets, and you can always buy a second one. And you can always pick one up secondhand. So that's kind of my thought on it. Costco's not too bad. If you're going to pay the membership, you might as well buy the products.
Is it considered budget friendly though?
Yeah, it's totally budget friendly. And I think Jeff.
I mean, I know it's been a decade, but when I had bought my Torin, I think I bought the top and bottom chest for all of $600.
Oh,
and it was a Torin, and the metal quality, everything else about it was far superior to what Harbor Freight was offering at that point in time. And Husky really wasn't offering anything extraordinary outside of what Craftsman was. So those two kind of laid to the wayside. So I went to Torin, which was a much more rugged, heavy duty. I would almost compare it to what a Husky is now. Now, that was 10 years ago. I have no idea what kind of alterations they might have made from 10 years ago to now. But I will tell you, 10 years ago, that was pretty much the Husky equivalent.
And I think it's fair to say that today. Yeah, and to me, the Husky, I don't know, it's on par with the Milwaukee box. And the last time I looked at the Costco box, it was just like the Milwaukee box. So
let's talk about budget tools when it comes to mechanic sets, because I know that Gear Wrench has a nice mechanic set. Hart has developed their nice mechanic set. Job Smart, they have a nice mechanic set. Now, what do I say about that? So they have a lot of accurate sizes with very few skips. Now you can pick the Job Smart setup for about $140, especially on clearance right now over at Tractor Supply. Gear Wrench, you're probably looking closer to about $200-ish. And then when it comes to what was the third one I mentioned?
You said Hart.
Hart, Job Smart, Gear Wrench.
Job Smart, Gear Wrench. So Gear Wrench is going to be more gear. Yeah. So it's you got to play the field a little bit, but each one of these tool companies comes in at a different cost.
They do. So let me stop you there real quick, and we're going to talk about some of the prices that you just mentioned on the stuff at Job Smart as well as Tractor Supply. But before we do that, we want to say, Rodney Whittaker, really appreciate you joining us from Branson. Amy definitely wants to say hello to you.
I just texted him in the chat.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, honey. And we also have Dewey Did It joining us. And we got Clayton. He's joining us too.
Yeah, welcome, guys.
So, and then maybe we'll talk about some of the tech and stuff too, as well as Greg, because Justin, you have access to Monster Tools, or you did. But let's not get off topic super right now, because, you know, we got to stay on topic. So Tractor Supply, you mentioned. So that Job Smart kit that you talked about for $139, it's actually on sale right now for $100. So
That's nice.
It's a 312 piece, if I recall correctly. And it's probably the best set that I've seen outside of something that's on sale during the holiday season or something like that. I don't think I've seen a bigger set for $100. Now, it's not perfect, but you get so many tools for $100. I lugged that thing around the store. The handle didn't break off. That was good enough for me to take a look at it. But you also did mention Gear Wrench. So I was actually at Tractor Supply today. And
I was going to say, where can you get Gear Wrench?
And I did pick up the 68 piece. It's the 84 tooth Gear Wrench set. It's only 1/4 and 3/8, but it was $36. $36.
Yeah.
Phenomenal deal.
What size?
It's the 68 piece. You get.
Let's just cover metric, because everyone knows metric. What does it cover? Metric, 1/4 inch, and 3/8.
So 1/4 inch, it goes up to 14, and in 3/8, it has shallow that goes up to 17, and it doesn't do any deep in the metric. But again, it was on clearance for $36. So if we look at the sizes on the back, yeah, it does go from 4 to 12, and that's in 1/4. And then in deep, it does the 6-point, 6 to 14. And then in 3/8, it is 12-point, 10 to 17, but no deep. But it was only $36.
So I will say, for $36, you scored a handful of killer nice sockets for a fraction of the price. I cannot put this in the budget-friendly tool set, because if you're looking for a budget-friendly mechanic set, be it at home or even for not even just pro use, but even, let's say, lube tech, or you're just getting ready to get into it, might not be the set for you. It might be a nice filler set to fill in some of the blanks, but you're missing so many different tools that are going to be phenomenal for you to use in the professional world, because you're going to want those deeps. And if you don't have those deeps, you're going to want mids. The fact that it doesn't come with either one might be a setback. But for the $36 that you paid for, oh yeah.
Yeah. For
How many are missing a socket, abuse the socket, or need a little quick to grab and go? Right. That's going to work for us. So for that, I would say, for what you paid for, it's a steal of a deal. Might not be ideal for budget tools to create your own mechanical set, but you know what? It's a damn good deal.
All right. So let's talk about the Crescent one here. This is a 179 piece one.
It was really heavy to carry.
And this one, I'll tell you, is my go-to set for in the car when I'm going anywhere, if I need to go out. And I'll tell you, second I open it up, of course, something's going to fall out. But that's the difference with this one. you get your adjustable wrench. You also get your needle nose pliers, because how often do you have a complete 200 or 300 piece set, but you need that to take off your radiator hose clamp, or you need those needle nose pliers for something? That's the one thing.
So are these considered extras?
Yeah, those,
like a little
those to me
bonus?
would be considered extras. Now, you get your open-ended wrenches, and I swap mine out with actually ratcheting ones. I don't know if you can see that, but I swapped them out because the gear wrench ratcheting wrenches fit perfect in the placeholders for the fixed wrenches. And then you get your metric in deep and shallow, 12 to 19, I believe it is, as well as 6 to 19 in your shallow. And then you get your hex, you get your slip joint pliers, and you get half, 3/8, and quarter. And I picked that up because I was actually going to give it to my daughter, but then I thought it was too good for her.
Don't let her hear that.
Don't let her hear that. I picked that up for
it.
I picked that up for $79.99 at Menards.
I'm trying to show you guys. Hopefully, it's coming through. It's a ton of sockets.
The one thing I don't like about this socket set is that everything falls out of it when you move it around. But that's
question. Why did you change the ratchet wrenches out for the wrenches that it came with? Were those wrenches just that terrible?
No, because I have that many tools.
So just personal preference then?
Yeah, that was a personal preference. That was like, hey, I have extra tools. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of them. Oh, I might as well put some that are actually going to be partially more beneficial into a set than just have them sit at home. So that, to me, I mean, what is your thought on making sure that you have pliers and other things like a screwdriver in your arsenal when you get a mechanic's tool set? Or do you like to purchase those separately?
No. So when it comes to going to a wrecking yard, call it B&B or whatever you guys call it out there, I would say ahead of time, if I already know roughly what it is that I'm going after, rather than taking, because I was like you, I was like everyone else that had no idea and would take a full mechanic set with me, because you never know what you're going to run into. Maybe there's that one thing that you weren't looking for that you could pick up. But nowadays, if I already took it off before I went out to go look for it, I specifically take what it is that I know that I'm going to need to remove the component. That's it. So if I know I'm looking for a PCM for a particular year, make, model, whatever, and I know I need an 8mm, a 10mm ratchet, a 3-inch extension, and a pocket flathead, that's all I'll take. I won't take the entire thing with me. I will take exactly what I need. I'll go down there. I'll grab what I need to grab, and I'll vaminos. Now, for those guys that are bargain shoppers, bin shoppers, that are going to try to grab a part, throw it on eBay, whatever, yeah, you know what? More power to you. If you want to lug around tools, you can. I know that people like Bleep and Jeep, Matt from Bleep and Jeep, he lives out in Tennessee. He will go to a wrecking yard with a wheelbarrow, his mechanic set and whatever, and he'll roll around through the wrecking yard. If he sees something outside of what it was that he originally went for, he'll pick it up, make a few bucks on it, or he'll put it onto a project that he already has going on that he didn't know he needed, but he ended up getting for a fraction of what he would have paid for later down the road. So it's not a bad idea to take some kind of tools with you. You just have to know what it is that you're getting ready to go there for. Am I going there just for a PCM and I need nothing else and I have no extra money for anything else? Or am I going there to get a PCM with a little bit of wiggle room to pick up a few items that I might be interested in, whether it's an interior door panel, rear view mirror, a valve cover, a wiring harness, a power distribution center, whatever. You already have that figured in. You already know what it is that you should be taking. You could take an entire mechanic set with you, but you really shouldn't need it. Most Honda enthusiasts know that they're going to need 8, 10, 12, 14, 17, maybe 19. Most GM Chrysler enthusiasts that go in there, they know they're going to need 8, 10, 13, 15, and maybe 19, right? So you start getting into a pattern of what it is that you need without having to take the entire set with you, if that makes sense.
Pretty smart. It reminds me of somebody, like if you're going shopping, if you know you don't want to spend a lot, you just bring cash. if you're going shopping and it doesn't really matter, you bring your card and you can spend whatever. It's about planning, about being smart.
Well, before we get to that, I want to say.
One caveat real quick. I said even better. Chris is at home. He has nothing going on, but you're going to go grocery shopping. Hey, watch the kids. I'm out. So there's your toolbox, right? On a normal shopping spree, you'd have to take the kids because Chris is working. Yep. Now Chris is home. Hey, watch him. And you're gone. And now luggage unloaded. You're already on the way out. You ain't got to deal with it. That would be a phenomenal experience.
That's exactly right. We were just talking. It's so funny because before I'd have to do grocery shopping with at least one kid, but a lot of times it turned into 2 kids, and you can't spend too long in the store if you have little ones. So, yep, exactly right. Perfect example.
So I just wanted to acknowledge Ed, the old tech guy. Really appreciate you with your $1.99 super chat there.
Thanks.
Guys, we're really just here to kind of spread the knowledge, things like that. Well, any donations that you make are appreciative. I mean, really just glad that you can join us. And Ed, the ratchet stuff that you're doing, if you ever need anything, just send me an email. We can chat to make whatever you have better, because I've been there and we can always improve on it. So just throwing that out there. We got Dewey did it in here. Stuff's going out of stock for Cobalt, definitely. Brian, Zach, at Client Graphics, I cannot tag you or Justin here. That's interesting. But you did tag me now. You put at Client Graphics, and I did see you. We got Howie Z in the house. Honda guys are to blame for the shortage of 10mm in the USA. Either that or I bought them all every time I go to a pawn shop.
I recently washed one of your 10mm by accident. You left it in your pocket.
And it looked very nice. I wish you could do that to some of the sockets, but not all of them.
It did come out looking really shiny.
We got BSS Small Engines in here.
Oh,
we got JR
Brandon.
Electrician. We got Dick Skinner. Hey, Dick, did you get that sticker that I mailed out to you yet? And then we also have any recommendations on a tool bag or backpacks. We can talk about that a little bit later when we get to some of the other tool brands out there. I'm not a huge backpack fan when it comes to things, but I know Husky makes one, Olsa makes one, Milwaukee makes one. And then we also got, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up. It's easy to do, totally free to do. Everybody's doing it. All the cool people do it. And we got 37 people watching and only 14 thumbs up.
Well, thanks to those of you that did give a thumbs up.
Now, my only
thumbs up like you would a insert blips here.
Yes. Now, I will say, so Justin,
trying.
You like to be very on track at times with the jobs that you're doing. You stay focused, you get in, you get out, you get done. And to me, sometimes that's like that flat rate mentality where I'm going to do this job and I'm going to get done. I'm going to get paid and I'm going to do the best that I can. Now, I come from the Eagle Boy Scout background where I'm unfortunately always prepared, which means I bring too much stuff. I can predict 3 different failures that are going to happen, and I can have all the tools for that. And as a DIYer, I would say the car that you have today, you may not have tomorrow. You might be a Honda guy today, but tomorrow you might be a Chrysler guy. I never would be, but you could be, or you might shift into a different brand. So when you're buying a tool set, while it works today, please make sure you're thinking about the future as well too. And any extra excuse I get to buy tools, I'm going to use it.
You don't need excuses to buy tools. You just buy them.
Okay, fair enough.
He buys tools all the time.
Fair enough.
He doesn't need an excuse.
Yes.
I think you guys should all put a thumbs up in the chat if that is also you. You guys don't need any reason to buy tools other than you just want them. It doesn't matter who you live with. You just buy them.
Yes. BWS Electronics, thanks for hitting the thumbs up, the first thing that you did here. Yeah, Justin knows that I like buying tools, and even some of the tools that I've bought, I've shipped out, mailed out to Justin, and hopefully the Tecton impacts, or as we all like to know it, you've canned the very, very verbiage of Tecton.
Tecton.
It always sticks. Like anytime I think about that, think about those words. And
I also say it like you in my head also.
It sounds so much cooler.
It does.
So gear wrench, that's on the top of my list, but it's really pretty cool. I wish I had a gear wrench truck like you have, because I think those are far and few out there. I think it's a good market and it's a good segment. And the thing that I like about their truck is that they don't just sell gear wrench. They sell a lot more than gear wrench. And the people seem like they're straight shooters on it.
Yep.
Very low pressure. And that's what tool buying should be, low pressure.
So what I don't mind sharing, and even my gear wrench rep doesn't mind me sharing, is the fact that he'll let me know ahead of time, hey man, this is a little bit more above what you would normally pay if you were going to buy it online. Okay, cool. So he already lets me know. When it comes to other things that are not available online, like Monster, handful others that are rebranded that he carries on his truck, he's like, they're a little bit more for the graphic, for this or for that.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy it for a little bit more, a little bit less if you want to go this route. So for me, it works out great because him and I have great communication. Everything works out.
Right.
But a while back when he was a Cornwall rep, even before that, when I first met him, there was some give and take. It would really depend on how much I spent and how much he would he would give me as far as like what he decided was a good deal or whatnot. But then later down the road, after knowing him for about 7 or 8 years now and being a consistent customer, now he's got no problem with doing any of that. So he always lets me know what the real is and what the real is not. So that's why I try to tell everyone, like when I do my Cool Tool Tuesdays, hey, yes, these are cool. He has shown us this is what he recommends, etc. However, here's the affiliate link. Take it for what it's worth, but you're going to save about a fourth of the cost of what I would have paid if I would have bought it on the truck.
Right.
So if it cost me if it cost me $200, there's a good chance that if you buy it over here, you're going to get it for $125 or $150.
Right.
It's a pretty dang good, dip down.
Right.
So for a lot of the guys to say, man, I wish I had a gear wrench truck. I understand because you get to see everything firsthand. And we usually get to see everything firsthand.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, if it's already available online and you could save 1/4 of what you would have normally paid for, why wouldn't you go that route? So I always try to make sure to share the link so that way people, hey, I wish I had a gear wrench truck. Cool. Well, even though you don't, you can still get the same exact product in 2 days and for 1/4 less the cost that I would have paid on the truck.
So basically what you're saying is if we watch Justin Dow's channel when he does his Cool Tool Tuesday with the gear wrench, you get the experience there, and then you can buy it for a quarter cheaper online. Sounds like a win-win if you're going to buy gear wrench.
Okay, real quick. Can I ask a question? I wasn't aware that gear wrench was a tool truck, like Snap-on and all those other ones. Or, I mean, I know they're different because they're like a different price range. But if I were a gear wrench tool truck owner, I'd be kind of pissed that my same tools are being sold at a cheaper price online. Since everything's moving to online, you know what I mean? Like you can buy your groceries online and it's shipped to your house. Like I'd be mad about it.
You're not wrong about it because the main tool trucks they have concurrently, depending on your location, is Snap-on, Mac, Matco, Cornwall.
Okay, yeah.
Now, in the Midwest, they have the S&K tool truck or SK Tools.
Oh, yeah.
Over here on the West Coast, we have independent franchises, one of them being Which Gear Wrench. Now, over on the East Coast, you guys might have something like Clay has, for instance, this All-Star Joe, right? He's got his own independent truck.
Okay.
So the fact of the matter is this. The only reason why independent trucks that sell other tool brands outside of those 4 major companies that are already in play,
yeah,
because people never, mechanics, technicians, whatever, they don't have cash money to throw down on $2,000 of the tools.
Okay.
Right.
But if you walk onto this truck and he's like, hey, you need tools? I'm your guy. You need $1,000 worth, I'm going to give it to you. But I'm going to need at least $250 in interest on top of whatever you're willing to pay.
Right.
And the guy's like, yeah, whatever, give it to me today, baby. And he'll sign it.
Right.
Next thing you know, he's making $1,250 on $1,000 worth of tools that he got for about $800.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is there's always somebody willing to pay it, and there's always somebody willing to make the payments to get what they want right now.
Yeah.
And instead of waiting. I mean, it's like the stock market. Hey, stock market tanked. It's coming in at a low price. I want to jump in. I can't unless I decide to use a margin. If I use a margin, it comes at a percentage. If I dive on into it in a margin and I don't have the cash to back it up for a month, and it takes me a month to cover that, I have to pay a percentage of interest.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with these tool truck companies that are independent. If I'm selling gear wrench and you already know you can get it for a fourth of the cost cheaper elsewhere, but you don't have it, but you like the fact that I'm going to give it to you right now. That immediate gratification.
It's like paying for convenience as well, too. Like
convenience,
convenience, gratification.
Yep, and you're paying for service as well, assuming that they're going to continue to come back on a weekly basis. But that means they're not going to tell you, but that means you're going to have to continue to spend money. Because why would I continue to come back if you're A, not paying me, B, you're not buying things, I'm not going to keep showing up. So it's...
Well, here's a caveat to that. So even with gear wrench being gear wrench, let's say that guy's in business for a few months, maybe even a year tops, and he decides he's going to chuck out. Who do I warranty tools with? I have to call them, right? Yeah. Same exact thing, right? I got to call them, hey, how do we do this? Snap-on is no different. Even though Snap-on's been around a long time and they're more notorious from going from shop to shop, they still have not come back to my shop in almost 3 years. So how do I get software updated? How do I get tools warrantied out with a tool company that's been in business for a long time that refuses to come by and fix the broken stuff or take care of the software? It doesn't matter if it's Gear Wrench, Snap-on, Mac, Matco, Cornwall, etc. These companies are owned by a corporation or independent franchise. They have their own business routes and so forth. Right. And if they are not successful and they cannot maintain their sustainability, they're going to lose their butt. And then as a result, nobody's going to get their stuff covered. So anyone's like, hey, well, made in America, yada, yada. This gear wrench truck is entirely made in Taiwan. Not true. We have Milwaukee. There's Trusty Cook. There's Mayhew. There's Channel Lock. There's a ton of tools that are made in the USA on Jeff's truck that's not just made in Taiwan.
Right. Yep.
Snap-on is not just made in the USA. A lot of their tools are redistributed or manufactured in China, Taiwan, and other places too, because they have to make a profit. And where they can make a profit is by putting a little sticker on there that says Snap-on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hey, look, compression test kit, $300, and it's a rebranded Lang for $100. Well, he just made $200 on a rebranded product with a sticker. Hey, I'll do that. You don't want your money that bad? That's cool. Hey, I'll sell my tools. I'll put a damn Snap-on sticker on there. I got a buddy that does sticker graphics. I'll have him make a Snap-on sticker, and I'll put it on there. I'll sell it to you for $200 north of whatever I paid for it if you really want it that bad. You let me know, because I'm more than willing to have an extra little money on the side.
I most certainly am too. So we got a couple new people joining us. We got a Do Not Rob Me. He's joining us. So not sure what brand of tool he likes to buy, but maybe he's a budget DIYer and he's not going to be buying some of the tool truck brands.
That's funny.
We got Steve Blaine, best collaboration ever. So kudos to you, Justin. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we got JT Franks, and we also have Redneck Mafia Fusion 2016. And he drives a Ford Fusion, I believe. Yeah. Do you remember that?
You were in our live chat last week.
Yeah, he was. So it's interesting that you mentioned like Lang and Mayhew and stuff like that. So when we were at SEMA, Lang Tools was there, and they literally had the most interesting booth of nothing to demo. And I'm like, so why are you guys here? And they're like, well, because we have relationships with a lot of the other companies that are here. And I'm like, okay, so why do you have a bunch of tools out here, but you don't want to demo anything? He's like, Well, because if I demo that, we rebrand that to Snap-on. If I demo that, we rebrand that to XYZ company. And so that was kind of an interesting booth because literally I could look at the booth and be like, yeah, I know who rebrands that. I know what that one's rebranded. And some of the Mayhew stuff was pretty neat to look at, which they don't always get the most amount of recognition, but they got some pretty cool chisels and pry bars and things of that nature.
Right. That's what they're notorious for.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see what else. We talked about the Job Smart.
Is Capri
budget?
Capri tools?
Capri tools.
Budget tool?
So Capri tools. So now, Justin, you said you had heard of Capri tools, but you haven't had a chance to take a look at any of them as of yet.
Correct. I did. I have heard. I've had questions asked to me. Hey, what do you think about Capri tools? What are your thoughts? What are your go-tos, etc. So I decided one day I'm gonna reach out to them. I mean, I don't typically reach out to companies. That's just not something that I do. Usually, reach out to me and whatever if that be a case. So I decided I'm gonna reach out to them. So I reach out to Capri. I'm like, hey, how's it going? My name is Justin Dow. I got a little YouTube channel, not very big. I do tool reviews, etc. And I was just wondering, like, if you wanted to possibly collaborate, if there was a possible discount, and I could buy a few things from you guys at a discounted price. I don't know if you give military discount or not, but if I could pick a few things up from you at a discounted price, or if you wanted me to review a few of your products without having to pay a price, I mean, it's up to you. I'd be willing to stack them up against some of the other competitors and give an honest review. What do you think? They said, we've already reached out to you before, and we sent you something. I said, no, I've never received anything. They've never reached out to me. Here's your email. Here's your address. And I'm like, yeah, not my email, not my address. And I'm like, well, we've already reached out to you, so we're not going to do it again. And you never followed through on your end. Okay, cool. Well, rock and roll. Good luck to you. And I just kind of deuced out from there.
Wow, that's interesting.
I'm not saying that they're a bad tool. I have no idea. I've never tried them. I mean, at this point in time, I don't really have the best relationship with them. So I'm like, man, I've never tried their product, never reached out to them. I never had a disc. I've got no clue. But clearly they are upset about whatever it is that they didn't give me, to the point where I just don't feel like it's worthwhile in showcasing. So I'm going to leave that one alone.
No, well,
it doesn't sound like they're going to take you at your word. You know what I mean? They must have it down in their system wrong, and they're unwilling to try again.
Yeah.
So let's see. We had Rodney asked if you had your own channel.
I did reply back. I did say this. I don't have a channel. I don't really plan on having one. I just consider myself a supporter. So I'll follow people and subscribe. And if they go live, a lot of times I'll jump on, like give a thumbs up, stay for a little bit, and then leave. Like I don't know, what would you call that? A ghost supporter? I don't really know.
Is a damn good assistant, because where Chris forgets, she remembers. So let's give her kudos to that, because she's like, no, don't forget. Yada, yada.
Yeah.
Well, and plus, I mean, my husband does a lot of stuff with YouTube and just tools in general. And, I guess as a wife, I can take one of two approaches, and one is to be super annoyed and anti, and then the other approach is to be like kind of go all in with him, and that's kind of just been my route. So like if he really likes the channel, like I'll subscribe to it, and if he's live or if he's watching something live, I'll be like, oh, who are you watching? And then like I'll just jump on and I'll be like, oh, okay, and I'll thumbs up, and then I'll go. I don't know.
You're allowed to be both. You're allowed to be both.
Yeah.
And if you're taking too much time on a live stream, just grab that multi-layered leather whip and just start smacking him.
I'm sure she could find a tool or a hammer or anything around here.
I don't need a whip. Yeah, I just need to find like tools.
Screwdriver or the pry bar. What end do you want? The steel or the plastic? Let me know.
There's tools all over my house. They're in our bedroom. They're on our dresser.
Ooh, don't go too far there.
I just mean that you use your tools and then they're just
whoa.
Stop. She's got the whole A-frame. Don't worry, I tie his ass up. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. No. So yeah,
I'm trying.
you think I'd have more tools in the garage, but they're really, the 56 or 72 inch. It's upstairs. Yeah. So let's see. We got JP Frank saying his wife has lashings with him. Most wives take the super annoyed path, and
it can be annoying at times.
And I don't have any other wives to really compare that to, so I just think she's super awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, and my wife used to pitch fast pitch softball, so yeah, that could be a little brutal for you. And then see somebody in here. Let's see. Redemption Garage pointed out that the Lang tap holder are $50. Mac Tool has them on sale for $100, but yeah, that's a good deal. Lang Tools rebranded a lot of stuff. My most favorite thing, and then we'll get back on topic here.
Steve, I have not thrown out any tools. I have purposely hidden them before to see if he knew that they were missing. She's just to see.
She's unorganized them before, so like, we'll go to bed mad, but not really, or I think that it's okay. And then I'll come out in the garage after work the next day, and I'll be like, why is everything not organized anymore? She's wonderful.
I not like once.
All it takes once, and you never forget.
No, I was mad.
I like to finish off that.
I was mad, so I was like, so I went in his drawer that I knew he organized, and I just just disorganized it, and he was so mad. It literally took 5 seconds.
Yeah, it took her 5 seconds to mess it up, and took me an hour to resituate it.
No, it didn't.
Hey, make this the next time. Next time he goes out in the garage and he upsets you, just take the 10mm socket out and just mysteriously place it somewhere within the garage and see if he finds it.
Or just take the whole 10mm socket rail.
Look at him. He wants me to do this. I had no idea that existed.
Try the 13 then, because he'll have tons of 10, but he only ever has 1 to 2 13s.
I don't have too many 13s, but I am specifically missing a 14mm SK, which I need to figure out. That's going to probably take me 6 months to a year to find at a pawn shop, but it's the thrill of the hunt. It's like the people that are out there talking about not having toilet paper, but yet I guarantee you the second they see toilet paper, they're going to buy as much as they can. It's just how it is.
I'm a little bit different. I'll use the Handaruski. I'll use a washcloth. But for me, everyone is dumping their shares in the stock market to find some solvency because they're liquidating everything to find some solvency to cover up everything that they've missed out on because they're out of work. Yeah. So for me, I can get in cheap. So for me, everyone's waiting in line to get toilet paper. I'm sitting there at 6 o'clock in the morning waiting for the market to open. And I'm just waiting. And I'm just, all right, let's go.
That's always a good way.
You can wait in line all you want. I'm going to grab up a different kind of paper.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you have all that, then you can make your own toilet paper.
Well, here's another thing too. Let's say you invested 50% of all your earnings for 2 months. Just 2 months. You could make approximately $200 a month in dividends if you were dividend happy and you were focused on dividends. You can make $200 a month every single month for the rest of your life, so long as you are focused on what stocks you are picking up or what index funds you are grabbing up. If you're just solely stuck on the stocks or solely stuck on bonds, you'll never make it. But if you diversify your portfolio enough, there is a way that you can make about as much as you're investing. So I don't know how much you make, but let's say you only made $50,000 a year. And in the 12 months, you invested $25,000 that whole entire year. Half. If you invested half and you diversified your portfolio between indexes and stocks, looking for dividends, there's a good chance that you can make just as much in dividends as you would one check. Let's say you get paid every 2 weeks. You can make one check a month for 3 months. No problem.
Yeah.
But you have to be very specific in what it is that you're doing and what it is that you're looking for. Don't spread yourself thin. Don't sell out too short. But now's the time to buy if you're going to buy, because everything is cheap.
Yep.
Everything is cheap because everyone wants out. They want their money right now because they're afraid they're going to die of pneumonia. Cool.
Well, they got to cover something else. They probably
sell it and let me have it for. I'm here. I'll buy it from you. In and out.
And see, and I err on the side of caution and try to play it too much, where I personally would say it's still too early for me. I still think there's going to be a deeper after.
There's going to be one more big deep dip. It's going to do a U. It's not going to do a V. It's not going to dip down and then skyrocket. It's going to do a U. It's just going to be a.
So, well, my father-in-law would say buy in right now. I don't disagree with him. I just think it's still too early for me to buy into some of the stocks and things like that. So
I would say if you're going to buy in, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. What I would say is if you're going to buy in, yes, now is the time to buy, but don't put everything into one stock or one index. Spread it out. Stock, index, bond, spread it out. And when it dips down harder, buy more. And do it again.
See, I'm too afraid to invest my money, but.
So we'll look back here. We got some people asking, if you were a DIYer, what sockets would you typically not need? And that's an interesting question because it depends on what kind of car you have and the make and model of what you're going to need to have or not have. So like if you have a Ford, you might need an 11 millimeter for 1 or 2 bolts on it. But 99% of the time, I would never need an 11 millimeter, except for a Ford. Or a 5.5 millimeter if I was taking out the radio or something on the dash on a Ford, I would need a 5.5. But typically, you wouldn't need a 5.5. A 9 millimeter socket. So I don't ever use a 9 millimeter socket, and I've used a 20 millimeter once in the last probably 5 years, and it was on just this week on a new air hose fitting that I was putting on. But then again, I can't remember the last time I used a 20 millimeter. Might have been on a fuel filter or a fuel line or something for GM. So it's really specific to what car you're going to have that you need something or you don't need something. But me, typically, I don't need 11. I don't need a 9. And what is it? 16 might go both ways. So Justin, you might have used a 16 on a head bolt for a certain vehicle, but it was like a 12 point maybe versus 6 point. So
not a head bolt. It would have been a random fastener, but not a head bolt. Head bolt. I've never run into a 16 with a head bolt. I will tell you, you are 100% correct with the 9. You won't need a 9.
I don't use a 7 ever either.
You'll use an 8. You'll use a 7. Tons of 7s, especially with interior screws. You'll never use a 6. You might use a 5.5. You'll probably never use a 5. You'll never use a 4. You'll never use anything smaller than that. Now, when you go to the bigger sizes, you may, but I'm going to say chances are you may not ever use a 16. That's a very, very rare size to ever use. I don't believe I've ever used a 16. I'd have to really, really think about it. 20. There's a reason why even the Techie Tone sockets that you sent me go from 19 to 21 because you'll rarely ever use a fucking 20.
Right.
Sorry. Didn't mean to say that. But now when it comes to half sizes, yes, because with lug nuts that swell up in the chrome,
right,
you will end up using a 19.5.
Yep.
You end up using a 21.5, but you're not going to use a 20. So, I mean, that's kind of right out there.
Gearwrench was talking to me about their half sizes at SEMA.
But that was with the bolt biter stuff.
Is that what it was?
So,
but it was cool. They were talking about that kind of how you were saying with the rust and stuff like that. And I didn't know that. I thought it was like
it's a plus or minus, and it's similar to if you look out for what your actual specifications are for a socket and the tolerances. Some are really loose, meaning like your 16 millimeter fastener is technically maybe only going to be a 15.98 or 99 or 90, but you actually have like a, what did I say? Did I say 15 or did I say 14? Well, we'll just say it was 15. Your actual fastener might go up to 14.99, but the manufacturer is going to make that socket have a 15.30 as the max tolerance for a class 2 manufacturer, where Snap-on and some of the other ones might go to 15.10 or 15, and their plus or minus is going to be that 15.1 or 14.9.
So
I understood about half of that, but the way I understand it in terms of like being a woman is like, let's say you wear like a size 12 jeans. Some companies are going to make it this size, and then some are a little bit, like everyone's just a little bit different. There's not one.
Think about it. If you're wearing a pair of jeans, you drink a jar of pickle juice and the sodium makes you bloat, your jeans aren't going to fit you anymore. So now you have to get a plus size.
Yeah.
I got a better one. This might make sense. So 14 millimeter is in the metric system. 9/16 is in the standard system. Right?
Yep, I did know that.
They're relatively close. There's a very minute amount of difference. Now, I can buy 4 14 millimeter combination wrenches, sockets, whatever, from 4 different companies. And each one will fit either a little bit tighter or a little bit looser. So it's like if you went and you're like, I only wear Hollister, but American Eagle fits me a little bit loose and Gap fits me extremely fucking tight. Sorry. But I'm going to only wear Hollister because they fit me just right. It's the portage thing, right?
Yep.
Right.
Same exact thing with tools when it comes to 14 millimeter. I've done a video in the past, and Lord knows where it is because I've had over 500 videos, but I've done a comparison of 4 different 14 millimeter box end wrenches side by side with a 14 millimeter fastener.
Okay.
2 out of the 4, actually the fastener would fit. The other 2, the fastener would not go into whatsoever.
Wow.
So to give you an idea. Now this goes over to other sizes too. And a lot of people say, well, you can get away with using metric over SAE. That is also correct because you have 1/2 inch, which is pretty close, but not exactly close to 13 millimeter. So you have that. You have 10 millimeter, which is pretty close, but not exactly 3/8.
Right.
Okay.
You have 14 millimeters, which is pretty close, but not exactly 9/16. So you have these sizes that you're sitting there juggling with, and you're like, well, this worked. It's got to work on either one. No. It solely depends on the company and if it will fit. Because like I said, I've tried 4 different companies, all metric, and only 2 out of the 4 actually fit one fastener. They were all metric, all supposed to fit one metric bolt, and only 2 out of 4 actually did fit the metric bolt.
I guess I didn't realize there was a little bit of a guessing game when it came to tools because
Who's the better tool? Who has the better quality? Who has the better fitment? They all want to know because they're like, I need it to, if it's metric, I need it to fit metric. If it's metric and doesn't fit metric, I don't want to be stuck with this tool that doesn't work.
Yeah, because then it's useless.
Right.
And there's a big difference between the first run of the manufacturing versus the last run of a tool line. So when the die is pushing out and cutting out the socket for a 19 millimeter on the first cut, that die is probably the closest to spec.
Yeah.
No, it's the closest to spec. Okay. So it's going to be the biggest. And at the end of the run, the cutting on it is going to have ground down just a little bit. So the socket's going to be tighter at the end because the material from the die is worn off. So if you get a socket from the same manufacturer, whether it's the first one or the last one, that last one is going to technically fit just a little bit tighter than the very first run. And that's when they got to switch blades so they don't have a socket that doesn't fit the fastener.
That all makes sense.
The other thing, here's the other interesting part, which we didn't quite cover yet, but I think we'll go into it. How about rust and metallurgy? because if you have a 14 millimeter fastener and it collects rust or any kind of debris, sludge, oil, right? Valve cover gasket leaks, it gets down the fastener. Next thing you know, it becomes toxic and it formulates its own layer. You have to still slip over this 14 millimeter wrench, socket, whatever. If it doesn't fit, you have to tap it on to fit. Hopefully it will fit.
Oh gosh.
But what was the difference? The difference was the rust, the sludge, the metallurgy, all the stuff takes a role into this, because you can't just say 14 is 14, it should be 14. Yes, absolutely, it should be 14, but there's a good chance that it's no longer going to be 14, and you might need a little extra slop, which might all of a sudden make it a 9/16, right? Because 9/16, a little bit more wiggle room, but might have a tighter fitment, or at least any kind of a fitment where the 14 millimeter won't, because it's too tight, because there's too much rust, metallurgy, and sludge attached to the fastener.
Right.
So where you go, well, how do I have a 98 Honda CRV that all of a sudden runs SAE? It doesn't run SAE. It just so happens that there's too much crap on the fastener to the point where it makes it look like it runs SAE.
This all makes sense. I feel like every time I come on your live streams or your channel, like I learn all these things I didn't know about tools. I appreciate the education, Justin.
So we got JD Tech 9520 joining us. How's it going, man? We also have, here is it, we got MC Engineering Inc. That's Craig.
Oh yeah, hey Craig.
And we got Sam's Garage.
Hey Sam.
And Steve Blaine is already here. SAE tools are cheaper usually. And that's kind of because we don't use SAE as much. But if you are basically working in construction or decking or things of that nature, a lot of fasteners around the home, especially when working on like decks and some pipe fittings and things like that, a lot of those are actually SAE, and I still need those.
I will say I agree and disagree on the same exact token. SAE, for the most part, does appear to be cheaper than metric. But if you were to look at, let's even take a metric combination wrench set, you pick your flavor and ratcheting or whatever, and you stack it up to an SAE set in the same exact platform, the SAE set is going to be cheaper because there are less pieces involved when it comes to the sale. So it's not cheaper because it's SAE. It's cheaper because they had to remove one or two wrenches to make it cost affordable to somebody that's not going to use them as often to get the bigger sizes, because when it comes to the bigger sizes, they have to make bigger accommodations, right? When it comes to metric, they're going, hey, from 6 to 19, no problem. Here you go, $100. But if we have to go from 3/8 up to 1 inch, you're probably going to be a little bit more because we had to go with a bigger size. How can we do this? How can we justify it? And so they tweak and turn the numbers a little bit so that way they're still making up for the difference in the sizing, because they had to make that wrench bigger. They had to charge you a little bit more, but they make you feel like you got a discount because they removed one wrench or two wrenches.
Oh.
Right. Which
well, it's the same price, as just diversified differently.
Which that's typically how it is. Typically, there'll be more metric than SAE. But the one caveat to that I 100% know about is the Crowfoot set in the Icon line. The SAE has 11, the metric has 10. And I'm like, really? Why did you? Whatever. I don't make the sizes. I don't, just whatever. But typically, you know, you're going to get your wrench size and it's going to be a couple wrenches less. You're going to get like 7, 9, somewhere around there, where your metric is going to give you the 10, 12, 15, 19, 18, somewhere around there. I don't know. That I don't remember. I don't count my wrenches that closely.
Yeah, it's weird. They'll do a metric set like, hey, 14-piece combination wrench set, X amount. 11-piece combination wrench set, X amount. And it seems cheaper. You're like, sweet. But you're looking at it going, wait, hang on. So I'm missing 3.
Yep.
SAE, not metrics. If you actually stared at it long enough out to go, sweet, And so everyone wants to say, sweet, they got a hell of a deal and they want to grab it and go. But just stare at it just long enough to go,
Oh,
okay, now I see what we're doing.
one of the deal breakers for me is like they'll have a metric set and they'll start at 9. And I'm like, no, I need an 8. Don't start at a 9. Skip the 9. Just give me an 8, 10. Good. Don't do that. That one bugs me. All right. What else did I get? So
Snap-on does that. I think Snap-on does go 8 to 10, and then they go from there all the way up.
Okay, so while you're looking for things, can I say this to circle back? So you guys were going to talk about the budget tools and stuff tonight. So basically what I'm understanding is that if you can find a tool, even if it is budget friendly, if it fits everything you need and it fits better than like a really expensive tool, then you're going to not only save your money, but it's also going to do the job way better. So it's worth it to try different things to find what works best for you and not just get siloed into one thing or just one name brand because it's a name brand.
well, it's expensive to do that, to find that out.
But still.
That is exactly why we do what we do. Because they're
like all makes sense. It's all coming together.
I think I'll buy this mechanic set just because I want to do a side-by-side. There's not many people wanting to do that because I've got 3 sets. Why the hell do I want to compare them all, except for the 2 that I got? Well, there are some channels, myself, Chris, and the very select few that are like, okay, outside of the shit that I got outside of the stuff that I got for free, outside of the stuff that I bought, we're going to do a side-by-side and show you what the best one is. It's hard to say because some people will come after you really hardcore, like, you're just supporting China. No, what I'm supporting is your wallet. I'm trying to tell you that there is a certain tool that could do exactly what you want it to do, but you don't have to spend nearly as much, but I have to do the video for you to see it in order for you to believe it.
Yeah.
Or you have to do it in the sense that they can watch it and they can be like, you're right. Both of those are not very great. And what I have is already great, but I'm going to leave you a rude comment telling you that you are a supporter of nothing that I am interested in, other than the sense that if I didn't do that video, you wouldn't know that what you have is already the best. And guess what? I don't need the best. I'm glad you have it.
Yeah.
But that's life. I mean, even if you have the best, it's not necessarily the best. It might be for you, but it might not be for somebody else. So I can guarantee you there are a lot of other countries where there's certain brands that I won't even mention their name. They're not even on the radar as top tool brands for some of those countries. They would look at some of the stuff that we have and the price we pay, and they'd be like, that's outrageous. You guys are all idiots.
Right. Dale, you're 100% right. I am trying to be as polite and as PC as I can. I often try to remind myself before words come out, I'm on somebody else's channel. I don't want them to have any issues. So I am actually on my best behavior. I'm trying to.
So guys, if you don't know, like, this is actually like, I get enjoyment out of watching Justin try to be as polite and as PC as possible. It just eats me up inside. It makes me smile. And that's really all we want to do at the end of the day is have fun. I mean,
hang out together.
I love my wife, but at the end of this lock in, stay in, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, there's going to be 2 things in life that happen. We are going to have a lot of babies 9 to 10 months from now. Not us specifically. Not us specifically.
I thought you were saying that you were expecting.
I'm saying as a country, as a nation.
Oh, hey, I think you said it best.
As the world, there's going to be a lot of childbirth because of people staying home. It's kind of almost like winter, but for the entire world at -16 degrees or 60, -60. And the other thing is there's going to be a ton of divorces that happen.
I'm just waiting for the triplets from Client Graphics. That's what I'm waiting for. I see 3. Everything good.
Will not have any kids. I will not have any kids. I'm not
So you're having a divorce because you
No.
only gave 2 options, Dave?
Oh, and the final option is we will all live like Dale, and we will marry somebody that we thoroughly enjoy, and we're going to spend the rest of our life with us.
Oh, you are making it so difficult to stay politically correct and nice on here.
She does that. She makes life very.
Not her, you.
Oh, well, thanks. Get your mind out of the gutter, guys. I mean, that's just how it is.
You
That's
put
life.
him there.
No.
I did read something
Her
online.
own channel.
Yeah.
I did read something online. It was like a funny meme that was like April quarantine bring, like April showers bring May flowers, that type of thing. It was like April lock-in brings May expectations or something like expecting or something like that, which is basically what you're saying is people have been cooped up indoors with their spouses. So there's a chance for a big baby boom.
Yeah.
I guess
Yes.
We're gonna have to sell all
So I guess
them tools
Chris
and
is
get
either
ready.
getting pregnant or divorced, and you're
No.
upset.
No.
No, I saw the pregnant eyes. You can't hide it. I just saw it like you did like that, right? As she would say pregnant, and you did like that. I knew it. There's
Yes.
a chance. There's a
Yes.
chance.
I have been moody lately. My appetite has increased. I feel like I'm gaining weight. I've been very emotional.
It's stress.
Yes. It's an interesting thing. So let's see, what else did we pick up? So Yoda Doug, he's in the chat, and that guy knows a lot about pliers, and he probably has one of these, and he can probably tell us who the knockoff on that one is. But Titan Tools, they rebrand for a lot of people, but that was like a $10 pickup or something like that.
O'Reilly's. Those are nice.
I might not ever use those, but I felt like picking those up.
No, they're great for fuses.
That is true. So
see what I was telling you guys? He just said, I don't need them, but I felt like picking them up.
I needed to hit $30 in order to use my coupon.
There you go.
So
then you gotta buy it. You gotta sometimes spend.
The pistol grip will come in handy.
When you want to solder, if you got the solder in the one hand, you got a wire coming over, pinch and grab the other wire, you bring it over, and you can solder them both together. It keeps you out of arm's reach, but you can still get it done.
So I don't have one of these, and I knew Yoda Doug probably has something like this, or in a way more expensive brand. But for me, the amount of times I'll use this, maybe it's going to be more than I'm thinking, but to me, $10 on that is worth it. Harbor Freight doesn't have anything like that. There's lots of different places that don't have something like that, and it was kind of unique to me, and I thought it was well worth $10.
I love the pistol grip. Now, I haven't had pistol grip in a long time because apparently somebody needed it more than I did, but I also like them for little tiny vacuum clamps because Honda and even Toyota have these little tiny tidbit, little compression clamps I like to put where the vacuum lines go. And instead of having to grab it sideways and pinch down, you got this pistol grip and you just go, boop, and you just move it, and it's phenomenal.
They're fun.
Yeah.
It says that it's built, where did it say it? To reduce hand fatigue. So.
Yeah, because you're not like this anymore. Now you're in a more comfortable position. You don't have to be awkwardly placed.
And they're like larger than the 8-inch needle nose pliers, so it feels like you're going to get more leverage on it if you needed to apply it in that angle.
You definitely do, because you get more squeezing ability.
Yep. So yeah, for $10, I think it was a good deal. Maybe Carlisle has a set on those.
They do. They're a little bit more expensive though, so I wouldn't go Carlisle with something like this because you're not going to get any extra squeeze out of it. There's no extra leverage. You just have an extra cost.
Yeah.
Be the same thing if you wanted to buy the pistol grip style of whatever Knipix was selling. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get any better quality. It's going to be the same amount of pinch load. You're just going to spend a lot more.
So this is something where if you buy different brands, it's not going to really change a lot, and the size isn't going to be.
No.
There's a bunch of tools that are like that, like where when it comes to pliers are the tried and true area here. Like Channel Lock came out with the X beam that did this whole weird number, and then some other companies did, and they would charge anywhere between $10 and $20 extra above any other company. Next thing you know, you're paying $60, $70 for a pair of pliers that you can get from Channel Lock from Home Depot for 10 or $20.
And they do the same job.
Exact amount of pressure as the $80 pair.
Right.
They're no different. It's just, how did you save?
Right. And it could be because
people are like, oh, China made in Taiwan, etc. It don't matter. You could make it in the USA, have the same exact pinch load as you did the one from made in Taiwan.
And the reality is Titan remanufactures or rebrands things for many other companies. And just because these are in red, if you dip them in blue, it could look just like the Carlisle ones. I'm not saying that these are. I'm just saying that something like that is really, really easy to change up and make it look different. I mean,
I did that with my Carlisle half-inch ratchet. Someone said,
you made a USA one.
I said, cool. I put it in a vise. I took my USAA stamps that I had. Bam, USA. There you go. There. Now, give me $300 and I'll mail it to you. I swear to God, I will. No problem. No one caveat on it.
I remember.
Hey, give me $300. I'll mail it to you. I swear to God, I will.
Interesting. I think Titan is moving more into retail stores, Doug said, and he says that he's actually only seen those in Titan. So that's interesting. Let's see. What else do we have? Somebody said they got a sweet deal on the 230-piece Husky set at Home Depot. So, Justin, I know you frequented Home Depot. You frequented Lowe's. You like Home Depot because of the hot dogs that they have every now and then out there. At least I do.
Yeah, I love when they do that.
So for me, Lowe's does the hot dogs.
Really? See,
Oh,
our Home Depot does hot dogs for free.
And I will tell you that Husky does not offer a nice, thorough mechanic set. They skip sizes. They misclude sizes. They don't do deeps in certain sizes. I did a video complaining about this because I went down and spent half as much for a Craftsman made in China set, and I had all my sizes, deep and shallow, no problem, which I ran out for a few months in the professional industry, showing that they held up just fine. But Husky did not accommodate half the sizes that I was looking for, and they did not have hot dogs. So they do not get up for me.
So ours has free hot dogs, and the kids really liked them. They got free hot dogs going in the store, and they got free hot dogs going out of the store.
We can feed like our whole family.
And Mom and Dad didn't have to pay for lunch.
Yeah.
And we got Greg Barnett chipping in $2.
Thanks, Greg.
Stay safe, everyone. And that's really what we do appreciate. Home Depot in Coral Springs has barbecue that they offer out front with a huge grill on wheels. That would be pretty sweet. I've never seen that at ours. I'd go there just for the barbecue.
Oh, hey, random question for people in the chat with kids. Did anybody hear if the Home Depot Kids Workshop happened today? Probably not.
No, I don't imagine so. Like our stuff's closed down. We don't have. We can't. Can't go to anything.
Okay, because that's one of our family traditions. Every Saturday we go. The kids love it. They like to pretend like their dad. You know.
They shut it down. They shut it down.
So every
kid-friendly stuff that we're going to see from now on, here on out, is going to be whatever Chris shows with the Harbor Freight tool kit that they have available now, because I saw that and I was like, that's pretty cool. I thought about going down there. Specifically, if I would not have seen it in your video, I would not have believed that Harbor Freight sold it. I almost went down there to buy it just to have something to do for my weekend. I kid you not. I watched your video. I was like, I need to go down there and get that because I've got nothing to do. And the kids are getting bored and they're asking me to go outside and they don't want to do anything outside. So they want to come back inside. I'm getting tired of the in and out. Maybe we should go to Harbor Freight and just buy this goddamn toolkit.
I was surprised that he didn't buy it. I was like, why didn't you buy that? He was like,
because I only have the 5-drawer service cart. I should get like the 26 that Justin has back there in the royal blue.
I thought that was a Harbor Freight one or something.
I still should get, but see, I'm still in the range that I need to get a 36 to 56. And I'm still waiting for the right 36-inch tool cart / tool storage solution to come along. And maybe
I am glad that I spent was it $500
Yeah.
on that versus spending $2,500 for an Icon 36 bottom. If you don't know how to set it up, the video that I did about it of what I thought a good apprentice tool cart is, I show you how to fit every blow molded case that Harbor Freight ever sold in that dang 26.
So that's really interesting that you brought up the, you said you wouldn't buy the 36-inch Harbor Freight Icon bottom tool cart because it only comes with the bottom, mind you. It does not have a top. But somebody had mentioned Tecton before, and maybe it was you, maybe it was me just thinking that it was a good segue into it. But Tecton recently started selling toolboxes. I don't know if you've had a chance to check that out. And I thought it was really interesting that everybody stated that the price on the Icon toolboxes were so high when if you look at what the Tecton ones come in at, they're slightly more expensive than the Icon toolboxes for the equivalent size, but they do have a slightly different drawer configuration. So there are differences between them. What do you feel, Justin, about the whole lifetime warranty on toolboxes?
I don't believe in it.
Fair enough. And that's one of those things where I look at what I've had for my toolboxes. I'm still using one of my Craftsman one from like 1992. And it doesn't have ball bearing slides. I've greased the heck out of them. I still haven't worn the sheet metal on the slides apart. It's getting close. So the wife has already said that I can buy a new toolbox, but I just haven't. So
it is hard to open those drawers.
I've had a Craftsman 40-inch for about 10 years. And I had it tip over on me. It smashed like 4 or 5 drawers with glides and everything else. It was lifetime warranty. Was not covered under damage, apparently.
Right. Physical damage.
If I wanted to have those drawers replaced, now this box that I bought with the midsection on top, which was an extra 44-inch solely open one drawer on top of your regular toolbox, cost me $1,000, roughly. To have those 4 or 5 drawers replaced, it would cost me between $400 and $500. They'd have to ship it to me and I'd have to fix it myself here in the garage. So within 10 years, I would have had to pay half as much as I already did for a toolbox that was supposed to be lifetime warranty. Even though stuff happened and it fell over and smashed drawers. Even though stuff happened, now I've got to pay another $500. So now I'm in at $1,500 for the same toolbox. It ain't worth it.
Might as well get a new one.
$500.
Yeah.
I get another one. I give my old one to work. So I did.
Yep. So I mean,
spending $500 on a $1,000 box to fix 5 drawers. I just can't.
Right. Nope. You can't.
No.
Because you can go buy a whole 40-inch setup, top and bottom.
Well, and drawer change, drawer depth, drawer height, everything else. So 10 years ago, that box was the bee's knees. 10 years later, not the bee's knees.
No.
Now I have to pay $500 to fix drawers that are 4 inches less in depth, 2 inches less in height, 2 inches less in width. I'm like, what am I getting? I'm not getting anything.
Yeah. So the box thing is
another half to the box that I had.
Yeah, the box thing is really interesting. And it's got to be one of those things, man. I have to see a box before I buy it. I have to be able to touch that toolbox, or at least know somebody that has it before I pull the trigger on what I'm ever going to buy. It would be really hard for me to go to like Extreme Toolboxes or even a Kennedy and just throw down the money and say, hopefully it'll show up in a month or 2. That's just how I am with toolboxes.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, what do we got here? Yeah, I do. What do you feel about soft drawer close? Do you like the soft drawer close, or do you really care?
I kind of like it.
What does that mean?
I didn't have soft drawer close on any of the boxes that I have. But the ones that I've tried out in the store where I go, huh! And it all of a sudden, like within a couple inches, you go,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I mean, I don't have that feature, but it seems like it'd be pretty nice.
That's a new thing in kitchens.
Yeah, kitchens have it too.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can retrofit your kitchen cabinet software
saying, like,
your toolbox.
Let's say you're a man, right? I had to do all these dishes. Chris isn't doing the dishes. I told him to do dishes. And then within like an inch. You know?
He doesn't do the dishes as well as me.
So
sometimes I just prefer to do it.
Speaking of dishes, like in my house, it doesn't cut it if you take the dishes and you put them in the sink. That doesn't cut it. That gets you yelled at. You actually have to put them
animals do that.
in the dishwasher, because there's no magic fairy that comes by and finishes the dishes from the sink to get them in the dishwasher. There just isn't.
I'm a magic fairy guy. I walk in like any other guy. Oh, counter space. I'm not good at
This is my thought.
It's gone. I'm like, phew.
This is my thought. If you take the effort to actually go, then why not take 10 more seconds to put it where it belongs?
Because my arm's broken.
They'll get wet and they'll hurt and they got crackies and I'm already working hard enough. Look, I put it on the counter. If I wake up in the morning and it's gone, it's not my fault. I'm happy.
It's okay. I'm training my children to have this skill right now. They're actually not too bad.
We got 99 Cummins Ram joining us. Cheers to those on Saturday. Thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate it. Oh, my wife wants to cheers. What does your koozie say there?
Oh, I think it'll show up backwards. This was a gift from a former student. Oh, it does show up nice. Yet another day has passed without me using algebra once.
Oh, thank God.
Okay. So it's funny. So I used to be an algebra teacher and she brought it to me and I just I loved it. She was like the best student ever. Like she got A's on all her tests, but she went to the dollar store and saw it and she bought it for me. And I just that was probably like 5 or 6 years ago that somebody gave me that. And I just love it. It's my favorite koozie because you actually use algebra every day.
Well, not me, but kudos.
I mean, you don't solve for X every day, but I mean,
I don't solve for one either.
Critical thinking.
So Justin, here's some budget tools for you. That is budget tools right there. That's Tractor Supply Company. That is definitely going to be skipping sizes. It's got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and it just stops.
Oh.
It's got 8 metric, 8 SAE, the ratchet, the 6-inch extension bar. That was on clearance for $2.69. And I'm going to do the unthinkable that you hate with this one.
Oh, are you going to break it?
And I'm going to break the ratchet on it.
Oh, come on.
So I will tell you on the next.
Let me grab a little tidbit since you got a little tidbit.
Yep, we're showing budget tools. That one's a super budget tool. And then I picked up some more budgety things when I was there. I picked up some bits. While it shows it was $4.19, it was really like $2.99. And then another budget brand, Olympia tools. You can get some random stuff. Oh wait, don't even have to tell me. That is an O'Reilly's branded ratchet. That is the Power Torque, and hopefully you got that on clearance, like $9.99 or $14.99.
$6.77.
That's a great deal.
Wow.
Now tell me on that, because it's a flex head, does it have the drilled out holes when you move the flex head, or does it have the slats?
Detent slot.
Yes.
Also, locking flex head. So you push a button. Right, little detent here.
Yep, the quick release.
Right, so I got that and a heavy knurl. Not a bad pick me up for under $7, basically.
Right, that's a great deal.
That is a good deal.
I picked mine up. They had a newer version of it. It's got drilled out circles for the detents on the flex head. But the one thing I noticed on the receipt from O'Reilly's, clearance items are not lifetime warranty.
Oh, yeah. No, but I'll tell you what. This has lasted me over 1 year. And there was a warranty on it.
There was a warranty on it?
No warranty.
No warranty.
It said lifetime on the thing.
Right.
But I was told, hey, look,
Yep.
probably not going to get a warranty. And I was like, I don't give a shit.
Right.
It's $7.
Right.
They don't last. They don't last.
Don't
So
last.
I grabbed it up, and I've had it for 12 months. And this has been my at-home go-to guinea pig 3/8 ratchet with that weird curved handle that I just so enjoy.
Where'd you get it again? Someone's asking in the chat.
O'Reilly.
Yep. And that's
$6.77 on the clearance bin shelf.
Yep. I have one of those as well. I really do enjoy that one. I was disappointed that the receipt said specifically no warranty on it. But again, I had the same mentality that you thought. It's cheap enough. I don't need to warranty it. It's got the bent handle. I'm not going to misuse it. It's probably going to last me quite a long time.
Well, yeah, I get asked those questions from time to time too. Like, what was the last thing that I bought? Well, the mic that I'm currently using. They asked me if I wanted to pay $50 on a $50 mic for a warranty for 3 years.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
I was like, no. They're like, but it's guaranteed. So if anything happens, drops, spills, scrapes, this, that, other, we're going to cover it. And I was like, yeah, no, because if that's the case, I'll just buy another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At $50, I mean.
Because wouldn't you, if you did, let's say you warrantied it out, would you have to pay another $50 like for the next warranty? It's kind of like prepaying for the next one.
Pay the $50, and then you have to pay the $50 to the warranty, and they'll cover you up to 3 microphones. So they make it seem like it's going to be worth it because if the first one you bought breaks, they'll give you 2 more just in case.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm like, you know what? If this don't work out, I'm pretty sure I got 15 to 30 days grace period with Amazon.
Right.
Getting your stuff back, rest assured.
Yeah.
Let's see, Jeff.
That's why I asked in the beginning of the stream. Let me know if there's any issue.
No, I think it sounds great.
Coming in nicely.
Yep. So let's see. We had Jeff in the stream mentioning 10 teeth on that ratchet from Tractor Supply Company. Well, it probably has 36, but when I get done with it in the ratchet torture test, it may only have 10 teeth. So take that for what it's worth there. What else do we have here? We have Justin. What did they were saying? They were saying every time Justin takes a little slip on his language, we have to take a drink. So this is everybody's liking this, Justin. They're thinking this is great.
A drinking game.
Trying my best to.
That's actually a drinking game that everybody can participate in at 21 and older in the chat.
So let's see.
I am trying.
Nope, you're doing a great job. So one thing that I did today, because I got bored. When I get bored, I like to buy things. So I did buy a bunch of different ratchets for the next upcoming torture test. Some of those are budget friendly. So some of those that were budget friendly would not be the Wera one, would not be the Hazet one.
Oh, yeah.
But then we did buy a couple of them that were budget friendly.
We bought them?
Yes, we bought them.
I like how you use the pronoun we as if I was there and.
Yep.
So I bought.
You get out of trouble.
Yep, we were there.
So I bought an Ares, ARES. Now I've seen this brand on Amazon for a while. They've had some sockets and things like that, but you can't buy their sockets anymore. I'm interested to see how that one will actually perform. It's a budget ratchet. It's a 90 tooth. I have a feeling it's going to be similar to something like the Cobalt from Lowe's. So
Cobalt is nice.
Yep. So
how many are you gonna test, put to the limit in the video?
You know, I've found that doing more than 6 or 8 is too much. The video is too long, so we're gonna keep it at 6 to 8 when we do part 3 of the strongest ratchet.
I'll tell you what, guys. When he's in the garage doing his testing, where he's in here putting it, like stressing it, putting it to its limit, I can usually hear somewhere in the house what's going on, and I don't even need to interrupt and come in the garage to see anything. I know automatically, oh, Chris is working on a video where he's breaking something again, because you can just hear it throughout the house. Oh, we need to take a time out for a second. My favorite person just joined the live stream. Tarek, thanks for joining. Thanks for the super chat. I feel like I got to see you last night and tonight.
Yes, Tarek, really appreciate you with the super chats. Just wanted to say hey as well. It was great watching you guys on your marathon live stream last night with CP, the Tool Addict, Hard Knocks Forge, and a bunch of other people. You guys streamed for, gosh, it was almost 5 hours.
When
or
I
well
jumped
over
on,
5 hours.
I jumped on to say hi, and they were in like hour 3+. I'm pretty sure.
Ed, the old tech guy, Chris, you are so lucky having a wife that supports your tool habits. Yes.
Thanks, Ed.
Yes,
and thanks for the super chat.
Yes, and again, Ed, if you need some help or some info on your ratchet testing, let me know. And Justin is done changing the oil right now, so he is back.
I don't know about changing the oil. I had to top off the coolant.
Yeah, it should be, I mean, liquidy enough. Yeah. Let's see.
It was definitely green. Is that PC?
That's PC enough. I mean, typically I'm more of like the Dex Cool kind of guy, so it's more yellowish, orangish.
Oh no, mine is Chameleonaire. It is definitely it's mixable. It's multi-mixable.
There you go. Yep, yeah, they do make that interchangeable antifreeze. I don't know. My Dex Cool has been great.
If your stuff coming out orangey, lay off the carrot juice. I'm just throwing that out there.
My Dex Cool.
You say Dex Cool, I keep seeing orange.
And I do too. That's because that's what it's supposed to be.
No, it's not. It's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be a light yellowish clear.
Oh, okay.
If it's dark yellow, you're dehydrated. If it is Dex Cool orange, you got problems that need to get checked unless you're just drinking too many carrots.
I'm actually okay, fine. I'm not drinking that many carrots. Oh, it's been a long day, but it's been an awesome day.
What color it's going to be when you get off the stream?
Let's see. Just in doubt, is there pressure from peers or management to buy from the local tool truck at mechanic shops?
No, because I live in a world and I operate in a world where most of the mechanics or technicians I work with, they are at least 5 to 10 years older than I am. And there's no pressure because they already either A, own it, or B, if they're going to get it, they already know what they're going to get, so there's no extra added pressure. We also don't have big name tool trucks like Snap-on or Mac or Cornwall anymore. We only have Maco, which we all agree at the shop is overpriced. And then we have Gear Wrench, and then we all talk about the stuff that we've bought online. Amazon, whatever, right? eBay, some scores here and there. So no, there's no pressure as far as what tools that we own or use or whatever. Now, when I was at the dealership, yeah, there was a big amount of pressure because if you weren't Gucci as, then you did not make money and you were a problem and you were the reason why they weren't making money, because if you couldn't buy the most creme de la creme, the most extravagant of the extravagant, then you obviously did not care about what it was that you did.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of we got to say BWS Electronics. Thanks for all the information you guys give us.
Yeah,
you know
what? The super chat.
Go ahead and throw down a question there. We'll see what we can do to give you more information. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. Dealership cared more about it than independent. Independent so much.
Almost as if they believe that certain tools will make you a better mechanic or something. Like
no, what they believed was if you were not willing to invest in the money that they believed was like a good quality socket, you were not going to produce good quality work because you did not believe in yourself enough. You get some schmo that would buy Harbor Freight and come in, Could he get the job done? Sure. But he was using cheap tools, and he was willing to bang up, screw up the customer's car. And so they did not feel like that person was worthwhile in keeping on long term. They would keep him short term just to satisfy the immediate need, and then they would bounce him out for a different reason, showing up to work late, whatever. They'd find a reason.
Right. And I mean, sometimes it can be used as a status thing. Sometimes it can be used as a peer pressure thing.
I was gonna say it's like status.
I think more in the independent shop, it's not as big of a deal because you are working on so many different vehicles or have the potential to, that you can't afford everything to be the most expensive tool out there. You need the right tool at the right price, because just because Justin does one job today that needs a certain tool, he might not be able to afford that tool, but he might not have another job like that for 6 months, 12 months, or maybe never.
So it just sits and you like spent all this money when you could have bought something cheaper.
Why a lot of us, we at the independent shop decide to specialize. So Shane is decided to specialize in steering, suspension, and brakes.
Great.
So if I have a brake job and I don't have the special tool, there's a good chance that he does. Now I decide to specialize in engine repair and in transmission removal. There's a good chance that if he has to do it for whatever reason, if I'm not around, I leave my stuff unlocked. So he can go over and he can rest assured eventually he'll find what he needs for that if it comes to the domestic platform, even some Euro platforms. If it's just something that nobody has, my boss or shop owner, he'll just eat it and he'll buy the tool and then send it. Inadvertently, I did find out a long time ago, about 4 years back when I was job hunting, one of the first jobs I applied for before I applied back to the place I was at was at the Audi dealership, because I knew they were hiring. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, they were looking for technicians with ASE certifications, as well as you had to have a certain portfolio. Your toolbox must have been all gloss black, and it had to have been something that was Matco, Snap-on, Cornwall, etc., but it had to be gloss black, and you could not have had any other color, because they did not want to change the interior of the shop. They had customers that would sometimes come in. They did not want to see one extreme green, one extreme orange, one extreme gloss black, one red. No, everyone was going to be uniformity. So at the Audi dealership and Maserati dealership, you had to have a gloss black toolbox, and it had better damn well be of a suitable name brand that closely resembled or matched the other ones that were in the shop.
Wow.
So we got...
They weren't going to hire you for that. They would just say, you're simply not qualified. But that would be their reason. And I knew, because I had a friend whose cousin was the head manager, and that's what they told him.
It's almost as if like they're not hiring you based on like the clothes you wear. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like,
right. So we got somebody cutting out. Clayton, you have a good night. He's got to get up at 1:30, which sounds terrible. We got somebody thanking Justin for the mounting vise tips. He mounted his 6-inch vise to his 72-inch US General last week with no problems. So appreciate that. And then what else did we have here? What are some tools that I can't get away with starting out mechanic tech after 2-year school?
1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, all those basic sockets, pry bars, breaker bars, and ratchets. That's like your go-to butter. Those are the things you cannot get away from. Anything else, you can borrow.
Yep. That's pretty much it. And I mean, everybody's going to have a different price point when they come in there. There's one video that I always wanted to do, and I haven't got a chance to do that, is to talk about all the different tool brands and what Votech discounts that they offer for each of those coming out. There's some of them, like say SK Tools, they offer a 50% discount, but they've only recently started offering their online credit where they didn't offer any before. through a third-party company, where some of the other companies, it might be the only time that you actually get a discount on a Snap-on product or something like that. So if you are serious about what you're doing, because I don't have the newest statistics on it, but Justin might be able to relatively think how many people actually come into being a new tech, and then how many people actually last longer than 5 years or 7 years or 10 years or switch careers, because I think that number is really staggering. And that's the worst thing to do, is to buy a bunch of tools, not continue to do what you're doing, and then have to sell those tools at a loss.
I would tell you, and this is my experience, just my experience, 4 out of 10 mechanics or technicians, people that get into this trade, 4 out of 10, 4 will stay with it, the rest will leave.
Yes. I don't disagree with that. I know the number is really high. I don't want to scare you away from it, because there's other reasons why they didn't make it. It could be personal. It could be relationship. It could be they just didn't think it was what they thought it was going to be, or they're like, oh, I can't make as much money as I thought, or this isn't as cool as what I thought, or I can just live in my parents' house and play video games all day and I'm doing good. So there's so many different reasons why people don't make it. So it's interesting, and don't be scared, because I think really, if you just show up to work on time, you ask questions, you do a good job, there's always going to be a job for you. Not at that shop, but maybe at another one.
I definitely think there's room to be scared. Let's face it. I mean, you go to school, you spend $20,000, $25,000 in education to further educate yourself to be something, right? Well, now I will say, being something is better than being nothing. If you have nothing else going on for you, obviously getting your further education, being something, is better than not being nothing. I'd rather be in debt to have a career that's going to pay me twice as much than I would be to not be in a career at all and still working retail with fast food and hoping that I'm going to get 10 hours a week because I have a pandemic going through my head.
Right.
It's a big thing. Now, when you're a mechanic and you're thinking of getting in this profession, yes, you should be scared, because it's not just your education that you're banking on. You still have to accommodate the amount of tools that you're going to need to perform that job, should they require you to have your own tools. If they do, you have to bank on the fact that you're going to make twice as much, because you're going to spend half your check on tools. And if you're not spending half your check on tools, then you're one of the lucky few that are borrowing the shit out of people's stuff. Sorry. Until they get irritated to the point where they decide they don't want to loan to you anymore.
Right.
Okay? So now you run into a different situation. For me, for myself, what I have told myself, I wish that I was smart enough to stay in school to do something a little bit more, a little bit different than the way that I went. Is the mechanic realm for me? Maybe, maybe not. I can tell you I'm not happy that I'm in this profession, but I will tell you I'm not where I think I should be, because where I thought I should be, I'm not. And that's because I didn't get a chance to go to that further education to make myself something more. There's a lot of people that are doing it without any education whatsoever. So you have to decide what is best for you. Putting yourself into debt to get a job that you could have already gotten without having to put yourself in a debt. Yeah, you know what? Try to get in first, because Chrysler's going to train you, Ford's going to train you, Toyota's going to train you, everyone's going to train you. But if you can't get your shoe in the door because the economy is so shallow, there's no room for it, you might have to go to school for it, unfortunately.
That makes sense.
Yep. I mean, I think some school, if you have the exact same skills as another person that's applying for the same job, and the only difference is school, they may pick the person with school if everything else is exactly the same. If you walk the same, you talk the same, you dress the same, you look the same, but their school, that's the only distinguishing factor. Sometimes it comes down to years of experience. So I know, for instance, before I ever met my wife in anything, I was a lube tech for 4 years. I believe Justin started out at Sears, and you worked your way there for a long time, and then you kind of migrated into doing larger jobs, bigger jobs, and you went down. So even that experience as a lube tech, whether it be at Jiffy Lube or who knows, whatever quickie lube place, while they may frown upon you, it's some experience versus no experience versus the guy that says, oh yeah, I flip burgers at McDonald's. And I'm not saying that flipping burgers at McDonald's is bad, because they might look at that and go, wow, he actually sucked up his pride and worked at McDonald's, and he gets a good reference from them. Versus, even if you had experience at XYZ Quickie Loop, but they said, oh, well, we fired him because he didn't show up for work. So your experience in that sense wouldn't pay off at all, because you didn't show up for work and you got a bad reference.
Actually, I think your experience at McDonald's, it's not the fact that you flipped burgers for X period of time. Let's even say it's 4 years. It's not the experience that you had at McDonald's that might have got you the shoe in versus somebody that has no work experience at all. What it is that you have now customer relations. You have scale experience. You have cash register experience, money handling experience, versus somebody that just went to college, has no money handling experience, no customer relations, etc. There could be a defining factor between somebody that never went to school and somebody that did go to school, based on what their federally garnished wage position was prior to them applying. If somebody had no experience whatsoever but went to college, and somebody had never went to college but had interpersonal communication with a job that they were at for 4 years, they're like, okay, well, this person's been in retail or customer service for 4 years, operating a register, never missed their till, always on time. This is the experience that we have on their resume, versus this person that just got out of high school, went to college for 2 years, and they're saying, I passed the classes for this.
Right.
Now you have a reference. You have a reference between your manager, your general manager, and the 4 years that you were at that institute, versus somebody that just went to college for 2 years. So it weighs itself out. You kind of got to figure out what's going to be the better experience for you when you go into the interview. Right. Now, as a mechanic, can you do the same exact thing? Yes, but it depends. For me, I just so happened to get a lube tech job the same exact time that I started going to college for automotive. Because I was going to college for automotive, I got my lube tech job. Because I had my lube tech job and I went to school for automotive and I maintained it for over 2 years, I got a dealership job right after I got out.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's however you want to work it, but you have to play the system.
Right.
If you had no job, no experience, you just went to college, again, it could be a really tough road. But if you already had experience or you had a job while you were also going to college, you could have a very simple path. It very well could be that simple.
Someone will be more willing to take a risk on you.
Yeah. But also it's doing or showing what you like to do, and you're making money at it. So it's kind of like an apprenticeship or an internship or something like that, where you're going to school to do this and you're also working in that same field. That customer service experience helps because we don't think about it as much because it just happens. But every position, really, if you're going to be put in front of a customer, your company's going to want you to upsell things, whether you like it or not. I mean, even the gosh darn cable or dish person that comes to your house to install things might actually have a mandate that they're supposed to try to upsell you in addition to installing their cable. The reality is out there. If you're customer facing, whether you think it or not, people want to make money. People want you to make money, and they can only do that through communication and contact with customers. And if you're good at communicating with them,
or
helps.
Upselling them too. Yeah.
Right.
I used to work at Kohl's, and they used to tell me all the time how many credit cards I need to Kohl's credit cards I needed to open in my shift. So I had to ask every customer, do you want to save 20% and open up a Kohl's charge today. And there were some people that never met the goal because they were too afraid to ask the customer.
Because they already assumed they were going to say no.
Yeah, I wasn't afraid to ask. I mean, if they were going to say no, then you just keep on moving. But
no, I agree with that because I have been in a position as the consumer coming to even when I was working at Sears, I was asked so many times if I wanted to open up the HSBC credit card. And then I just kept waving it on. When I started working there, they're like, hey, do you want to open the HSBC credit card? Because as an employee, 20% discount plus 10% off, you're looking at a 30% difference. I'm like, oh, hang on. Well, let's talk about this a little bit.
That sounds like more money. Yeah.
They told me, and I was like, yeah, I want to do it. So 6 months, I put them off. Every once in a while, they would ask me. Wasn't until I got hired and they told me all the ins and outs. I was like, well, yeah, let's do this. I mean, let's figure it out. And then next thing you know, approved, $1,000, buy what you want. Me being, 20 some odd years old, I'm like, oh, so many Craftsman things to choose from,
Yeah.
And so I started going through down the aisle. I'll be right back.
Yep. Discounts help.
All right.
Definitely. So
wait, before you go on, I'm going to step away and leave your live stream.
okay. Well,
I'm
we really
going to let you hang
joining.
out with Justin.
That's
you don't
fine.
have to stop, but I have to.
Can you make sure you hit that like button?
Oh, I
And
already did. I was your first like.
And if you didn't like this video, go ahead and give it 2 thumbs down, and we'll call it a night.
Three.
No, not 3 thumbs down, just 2 thumbs down. But you can give it three likes.
Three likes. That's right.
3 likes.
Gotta be odd.
Yes.
Right. That's what I meant. I didn't mean the thumbs down.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't mean to be rude.
Love
I made a plan with my stepdaughter, so I gotta go.
Chilling night, movie night.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming to Justin and Chris's live stream. Keep hanging out, and I guess keep drinking your beers. So, bye.
All right. Wait, would you be able
Oh
to?
my gosh, I don't know how to leave.
Could you grab one from
Yeah,
the
I
fridge
can.
for me, so that way we can get really un-PC now that you've left?
Oh, you were only saying PC.
Oh, I thought it was for the channel.
For the channel. I'm just kidding.
This?
No, yeah, that's fine. Give that to me.
The hard stuff. He wants the hard stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how to leave.
All right.
All the
So let's see. We were still talking about tools and budget-friendly tools. How have the Tecton Impacts been hanging out for you?
They have been holding up phenomenally. To me, to my experience, I'm actually surprised. I haven't had no issue. So I know what the Craftsman ones that I've had for many years now. I've had them for, like I said, almost a decade. And I only recently ran into an issue where a lot of them had gotten rounded out. They were just getting brutally beat up. But with the Techie Tone, still, I've accidentally dropped them. I've utilized the heck out of them. I've put them on a gun. I've shared images and pictures with you.
You have?
I had no issues. So for me, rock and roll. I mean, we might have to have the same conversation 5-10 years from now. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, I have had no issue as of lately.
That's good, because that was my only set of Tecton Impact sockets. And
hey, if you want to, let me know. I can send them back, or I'll send you the Nico ones, which I've just used a couple of times by hand, which have only kind of gently scarred the outside, but the interior of the socket has not been damaged whatsoever. I'd be curious for you to try those out, beat them up, smash them, going through your destructive tests that you like to do. I wouldn't mind you checking them out, but I've got the entire set here. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. But for me, I think with the Techie Tom ones that you sent me, it'll probably take a decade before I see anything, is what my future forward-looking thought process is going to go. As far as Nico, the ones that I had gotten, because I wasn't sure if the other ones were coming in, I'll send those out to you if you want. If you're interested in them, you can beat them up, bash them up, do whatever you do, run them over, take a flame torch to them, throw a grenade at them, see what happens. And if they hold up, run them.
I could only wish that I could get my hands on some grenades. I don't know what I would do with them, but it sure sounds cool to have.
4th of July is around the corner.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But as far as impact sockets go, I mean, I'm already set with my either gear wrench that I have, either some older Armstrong USA made ones or the Harbor Freight Chromoly ones. And then I got suckered into the Icon stuff. So I bought into that, and I'm going to continue to buy into that till I round out what I have. And so
Icon myself, and I'll continue to buy Icon because I still firmly believe in their product line. I mean, I'm not being given anything as of lately. I've been buying my own Icon tools as they come out. I still think it's a phenomenal product. I still think they're going to do phenomenal things. And, with everything that's going on, there's a good chance that a lot of that production, as far as materials and industrial, as far as what they're going to do industrial-wise, there's a good chance they could come back to the United States, and next thing you know, we go from made in Taiwan to made in USA.
there's a good chance that
on what happens with what's going on.
There's a good chance that a lot of the stock that we've seen, where we've always seen a full shelf at not just Harbor Freight, but Lowe's, at Home Depot, everywhere that has that foreign stock, we might see that start to dwindle, and we may see the prices go up. I know that, well, we've still seen new products come into some of the stores. From what I've been hearing, a lot of the shipments are going to be slowing down. Well, truck drivers have recently, they've foregone the 40 hours and stuff like that, and they're just going bar none on the hours that they can ship things. They're not shipping tools. They're shipping essential items that they think are more essential than tools to make the world go around, such as food and other products that we need. So I haven't been told specifically by anybody, but I've seen and heard that there are shipments that used to be coming in daily are now twice a week, and some things that were twice a week are now not showing up for a week. So right. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing things slow down for new product wise from what I see.
Okay. I was going to save this, but I've got no idea how I'm going to do it into a video yet. So I figure I'll just share it then. You let me know if you can see it. If you can, I'll keep skimming through. Can you see that at all?
Is it a toolbox of some sort?
That's the one behind me.
Okay.
See the dent?
Yep.
Folded metal?
Yep.
Okay, hang on. Here's another one. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. It's the folded crease.
Yeah.
Okay. You see that one down there?
Oh, yeah, that one I could see.
For sure, right?
Yep.
Now, how about this one?
I can barely see it. Yeah.
Okay. One more time. Here's another one. Different angle.
Sure.
So the deal was there's two different styles of Harbor Freight 26-inch toolboxes.
Yep.
Maybe when they came out with the Gen 2, there's two different variations of the Gen 2.
Yep.
There's a first generation looked a little like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's the one that I had that had the folded corners. The metal was all folded. Now, here is the one that I just picked up. You can see it's not flat anymore. There's metal. There's bars in between. There's a extra support beam. There's extra support.
Yep.
So the way you designate this is that there's two different types of fasteners. So the first type of fastener with the flat bottom that has no cross beam, no support, is a 14 millimeter hex nut with lock washer and washer all built into one, doesn't slide off. If you get the other style where it has the beam that goes all the way across with the extra double piece of metal that goes over the cross, and you have to do extra shit, it's a 13 millimeter hex nut. So they go down in size as far as the nut because they've tripled the amount of layers of support when it comes to the 26 inch.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing if there's no physical issues with the actual unit, but if there's buckling or things that are there, that's a problem. I mean,
I don't know how to release the information to the general public because I've had this information now since I bought this box. I'm like, well, I've had this now for about 3 weeks to a month. When I had the issues where the metal was folded, the top would teeter, the bottom would teeter, I thought it was because of a ground clearance issue because my concrete is not so straight. Until I got a closer look and I saw all this. So I went back to Harbor Freight. I know the managers and the general manager and everything else. And of course, I've been here for over 10 years.
Right.
And they know that I have a YouTube channel. Like, hey man, look, so here's the deal. I don't want to return it. I still want it. I just need to know what the hell you're going to do. Like, what are we going to do about this? He goes, okay, I got another one in back. We'll check it out. And if it's good to go, you can take it. Cool. So you brought it out. We checked it out. Brought it home. Put it all together. I started looking at it. I was like, there's something different here. There is something different. There's something way, way different here. So I say, hey, man, do me a favor. Would you mind just take a few pictures of the ones that I brought you? Send them to me. I'll send you the ones that I got. I think there might have been an upgrade that I'm not sure about. And I kid you not, there was a huge discernible difference. Could not believe it.
So typically, now, what Harbor Freight's done in the past on those is they increment the part number. So it looks like your specific model has a 64434 and a 64433. Now, they do certain things, and they've done this with the 5-drawer service carts as well, where once upon a time, there's two methodologies about it. One of them, the first part number was their primary facility, and the second part number was a secondary facility. I've also been told that the higher numbers are the newer models, or there's something different about them, or there's a newer version to them. Now, I don't always believe that because I've seen some of the smaller part numbers actually be better quality than the higher part numbers. And so it goes both ways. Sometimes they reduce parts on it to make it easier to install, but to me, it doesn't always necessarily seem better. So I would look and see if there's a part number difference on yours, which their website does show that there's a 3.3 and a 3.4. Now, I can't tell you which one's better without physically looking at them, but it does happen. And I don't like that. I don't think that's great, but it's close enough, and that's probably how they feel about it. Because honestly, I picked up the Gen 2 service cart, and my model was not the one that I wanted. It was the one that was an older model number. It was built a little bit better. The bottom drawers didn't shake as much on it, but nobody had the older style part number in, so I didn't have a choice. But I got my service cart when it was like $159 or $169, so it was the cheapest I was going to get it, and I don't have any complaints on it. because I bought it in at a price point. But if there's like physical damage or physical bending, that would annoy me. But I look at what I have right now for my almost 30-year-old Craftsman, and I'm like, anything newer than that would be better. Anything with ball bearing drawers that would fit all the 1/2-inch drive stuff that I have would be great. That's just my 2 cents on it. But no, those are all really good observations. That's not what everybody looks at, but I think there is value in letting people know that there are differences. It would be interesting to know if truly that extra support beam across there, while it's probably meant to not cause sagging in the middle, it's really interesting that they would even get sagging on a 26-inch.
Right.
Or have bending. I mean, that's all I can think of why they had to do it, for support.
Like all four corners? Like all four corners? Like,
yeah.
I mean, one or two if you dropped or mishandled it, but all four? Nah, it's a little bit out there.
Yeah, that's kind of.
They got the replacement, just the bottom. I didn't have to replace the top. The top was phenomenal. I just replaced the bottom. That was the difference I saw with the bottom.
Yeah.
And now I've got no issue whatsoever. But I also feel like there's a lot more support with the one that I got than the one that I had an issue with and traded in. I was like, well, this thing has clearly more structural support, more crossbeam support, more caster support than the one that I had gotten for the same damn price. Only difference is that the other one was all jacked up and I had to trade it in. And this one's not jacked up and I got it free exchange. Here was their caveat. Here was the fun part. He said, I'm not going to name any names. He said, now, if I don't have it in blue, I'll have to order it. And if I order it, it could take 2 to 3 weeks. If I do have it in blue, I can trade you a cross for it. Or if it really means that much to you, I can give you a floor front discount or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, what are we talking about here? Because right now, I already know what I paid for that damn thing. What kind of extra discount are you going to give me on top of this? He said, I'll knock another 20% off. So I started looking, I was like, okay. So I did the math, and I was like, that's $55. So from 300, I knock off $55. I'm like, nah, not worth it. I'm not spending $255 on a Weeble Wobble. If he would have said $100, $150 in total, and I got half back for some problems, cool. I might have taken him.
Right.
20%. I was like, maybe, but let me see the math. So I started doing the math, and I was like, yeah, no. You know what? Give me a brand new one. I'll give you your old POS back. I'd rather have something that's not Weeble wobbling because I do plan on keeping this long term.
Nope. I think you made the right choice.
And I walked away.
Yeah, you made the right choice. You would be annoyed every time you went to that if it's going to rock or shift. So no matter, $150 is pushing it to say, yeah, I could live with this. $55, no, you made the right choice. We got Amos Cardoza. He's joining us tonight. Good evening, CG.
What up,
Amos? How's it going, man? And we got Jim Haynes. He's here as well. All right, so let's talk about some of the other budget brands out there. So,
Olsa, have you tried them?
I have not tried any Olsa other than their screwdrivers. I primarily know Olsa tools for organization. I know they have a backpack. I know Audubon Dan's got their backpack, but I haven't physically tried any of their tools. Some of it's really interesting. Like they put out some torque wrenches. So I like those kind of tools. And it was interesting that they came out with the beam style torque wrenches, which to me was like an older style torque wrench that you'd be putting out. Although I get it because I don't want to use a digital torque wrench to do lug nuts. I don't know who does that. It slows me down. It doesn't matter if it's physical feedback on it or verbal or the audible sound. I don't like it. Clicker style all the way. You're faster all day long. But
like if you are doing axle nuts, that might be the only change.
Right. But I still had really good accuracy with my clicker style torque wrenches. Beam style, yeah, you're still really accurate, but it was just odd to see a low tooth count beam style come out. So I understand, I get what they're doing. They're trying to do what Capri Tools is doing. So Capri Tools, 2 to 3 years ago, we didn't hear about them as much, and they had a lower selection or smaller selection of tools. And today, they're now trying to come out with tools that are similar to what we already see, but slightly different. So like, somebody might not care about the satin finish on their ratcheting wrenches. I think it's kind of cool. I kind of like that. But that shouldn't, well, see, that's where we're at. Harbor Freight has so many different colors for their tool chests. Snap-on has so many different colors for anything that you can get. We've really come to the place in our society where we can pretty much get what we want. Now we can get it in any color that we want.
It comes down to dimension. And yeah. I specified this in the last video that I did about what I felt like was the best apprentice toolbox, because Harbor Freight still has not increased the amount of depth required to accommodate those higher end pry bars or higher end screwdrivers with the elongated handle. So you buy that 5-drawer, you can be excited all you want. Your Snap-on pry bar set, you will not be able to close the lid on that without tilting them all back.
Right.
So it does come down to not just price, convenience, and everything else. It still comes down to depth. And I think that's the biggest misnomer that everyone thinks, like, well, yeah, I'm not going to spend no $1,500 on this damn service cart because I can go buy the same one from Harbor Freight for $250. You are absolutely correct. However, you ain't going to fit your Snap-on pry bars in that $250 5-drawer cart from Harbor Freight. You might be able to fit all your pry bars and everything else Snap-on has to offer in that Blue Point that costs you $1,500 or $1,200, even $800 when it goes on promo. But you ain't going to fit it in a $250 5-drawer cart from Harbor Freight. I'll tell you that. You can try it. You can try it. But unless you tilt them all back, your long one goes in the bottom drawer. All the rest get tilted back.
Or you're just that guy that's got too many tools in there, and then you got to put them diagonal.
I've been doing that too. I've done that from new.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't fault people for being creative, but I think I have too much stuff where I can't be organized. And I think in order to be efficient, you need to be organized. So
true. How do you organize?
How do I organize?
Like when you're sitting on the toilet and you're thinking about your next big box purchase or your next cabinet purchase, tool storage, whatever. How are you organizing that?
I think I'm going to have to put all my stuff in it first, and then I think I'm going to have to downsize to only the stuff that I know I'm going to use, and then I'm going to probably have to do Kaizen foam.
By then, it's too late.
Right.
What I did, now I made my fair share of mistakes numerous times over. What I did was I snapped a tape measure because they give you dynamics on the damn paperwork. You can even call them and ask them for the dimensions, right. Height, depth, etc. You start snapping a tape measure. And then this is what I do. After my 4th cart that failed, I started doing this. I would snap a tape measure across my garage floor. I start doing it in height, width, depth, etc. And I'd start trying to figure out what tools I could fit in this given space before I even bought the cart. And then while I was in the toilet, I would put on there wrench, combination wrench set, 1/2-inch sockets, etc. I start putting all the different tools that I could fit in what drawer. And I start going through it. Nope, this one won't work for me. I put an X through it. I go to the next catalog, do the same exact thing. Nope, this one won't work for me. Put an X through it. Go to the next one. Nope, this one won't work for me. Put an X through it. And I start going through it. And I'd figure it out. And it was a very difficult time period for me when I was looking for one specific cart to function the way that I wanted it to function. Now, this thing that I showed everybody else, I had no idea this could fit what it could fit. I had a rough idea, and I showed the rough idea before I did the full idea. I went to the store, and I took all these blow molded cases in boxes and everything, and I started loading it up. But I couldn't fit as much as I normally could in the store, given the parameters, given the box and everything else. When I got home, I could fit twice as much. Why? Because I had the time. I had the experience. I already bought it, right? I had enough time and experience, and I had already spent it, and I already did my due diligence, and I laid out with a tape measure, roughly, this is what I believe I could fit. That was the whole purpose behind going to the store and showing you what I could fit with boxes that were completely filled. Like if I bought a combination wrench set exactly how it is, this is exactly how it would fit in their cart, in their toolbox. But once I got home, this is exactly how it's going to fit. Because now I've removed it from the packaging. I've done everything I could. I even took scissors and trimmed it down to fit and accommodate. So I think that's the part that people leave out. They have to take a little bit of extra time and start doing the math. Height, width, depth, what can they do with what it is they have? And that's going to help them formulate the best decision they can when it comes to buying a cart.
Well, I haven't gotten that far. I've started looking a lot in the stores, checking them out. But yeah, that sounds like some next level stuff there. So we got a couple people that joined us. We got Joe Smith and Friends Network. If you haven't checked out his channel, he does an after dark show. It's usually on Fridays at 10 p.m. And there's going to be some special guests that he's got coming up here. He's got some really interesting lineups for the rest of this month. He's actually got Eric the Car Guy that's going to be on his channel. So it's going to be some tough competition to follow after that. It's basically like a podcast. You don't have to go on there and look at anybody. You just get to hear him talk. So it's something that you could throw on after work. But one of us, maybe it's Justin, maybe it's me, is going to be on his channel coming up in May. So there's that.
Could be.
Could be. But you could also be on there too. I could also be on there too. Just hit up Joe and he'll get you hooked up with what he wants to do. Yes, Dick Skinner, we can hear you. We can see you. We know you love Snap-on tools. You have way more epic toolboxes than anybody I know, which is pretty epic in and of itself. Sorry, I just had to add that on there, Dick. That's how I feel. I think, what was it? Didn't he buy like 6 at one time for all his shops? It's pretty crazy. He is not budget friendly. He is not a DIY friendly person, but he works on some stuff that it doesn't matter how much you spend on it. You have to fix it because it makes tens of thousands of dollars a day. And that's really something different. That's not something that a DIYer would look at. So let's see. So we did talk a little bit about Capri. What was one of the other brands? Tecton. So we did talk about that. You got the impact sockets that work out pretty good. I think they're really budget friendly. If you're going to school, you can get 15% off through their program. You literally can get in there half, quarter, and 3/8 in no particular order. And you can get all that for under $500 and have a full set. And they don't skip sizes. They skip sizes when it comes to the impact, but they don't skip sizes when it comes to the chrome sockets.
Right.
So I think that's pretty decent. What do you think about Craftsman as still budget friendly? Like,
I believe they're still budget friendly. A huge portion of the reason why they're still budget friendly is because a lot of their tools are outsourced to China, and a lot of their tools are made of a cheaper metal or cheaper compound, or they're able to have multiple resources to develop a similar product to some of the other products that are out there to provide you the quantity that you need in order to hopefully achieve some kind of quality. Now, I haven't had too many issues with the made in China. I know that a lot of people said, hey, I've rounded fasteners, et cetera, et cetera. I used an entire mechanic set that I purchased that was all made in China, and I did not round not one fastener. They all seem to hold up quite well. In fact, I gave that set to Dorito and the Lunch Cabre to use for their channel and to use to put together whatever they're going to put together. But I used them for months. I want to say at least 4 to 6 months before I gave that set away, and it was a phenomenal set before I moved over to the Icon brand. And I had a lot of people asking me questions about Icon, so I started using Icon. Well, now I've had them for about 6 to 8 months, and now I've brought them all home, and now I'm working my way to the next big thing or the next small thing. Like, what's the next budget tool-friendly mechanic set to get? So now I'm currently looking, which is why I think it's a phenomenal topic, because now I'm looking for the next budget-friendly mechanic set to see if it will hold up well and how long it will hold up. Can it hold up at least 4 to 6 months in the trade? I think that's a good strong selling point, because if you figure I'm going to use them more in 6 months as a professional in the trade than anyone that would buy them as a DIY or weekend warrior would in the next decade.
Right.
If they can withstand 6 months of my hardship, they're probably going to hold up for 10 years of intermittent use.
Yep. And what doesn't, you can attempt to use whatever warranty they have. But I typically don't buy my tools based on lifetime warranty anymore, because I feel the warranty that I have today, I don't know what that tool is going to be 3 years, 6 years, 5 years from now. For instance, even the Craftsman line, they say they're bringing quite a bit of it back to the US in the next 2 years. So I'd be interested to see how much of that actually does come back. I do think it's DIY budget friendly. I don't like the standard rectangle panel ratchets. They're just not comfortable. The 36 tooth will work. They worked for me 25 years ago. They're just not comfortable. So I can't ever say that I would want anybody to use those, but they do work.
I hate those damn ratchets, man. I don't know what is wrong with Craftsman. Comfort grip or not comfort grip. Get the heck away from the damn squared handle. Nobody likes it.
Nope.
I've been telling you for years. I know, right? A little piece of nostalgia. You want to hang on to something? Hang on to the name. Don't hang on to the handle.
Yes, that handle, it's bad.
Technology. I'd rather own 20 of these Power Torque $6 ratchets than your $20 square handle damn crap. Please get rid of the damn square handle.
It's brutal. I mean, and the way that some of the materials cut, the edges are jagged on some of the new stuff. They could have been jagged on the old stuff. I just didn't remember too much back at 18 and 21. Didn't care. I had more time on my hands than anything else. Didn't matter if I broke something. I just go replace it. But they're pretty budget friendly. Stanley used to be at Walmart. I like Stanley. I always did like Stanley. Stanley's getting pushed out by Hart. So that's another budget-friendly brand. And honestly, we're talking about a lot of these different budget-friendly tools, and I'm truly going to be honest with you. I don't know a brand that I can think of off the top of my head that truly would fail most people that were just going to be DIYers at home. I really don't. I can think of pros and cons, but I can't really think of a brand that I would just say, you know what, don't ever buy it. Is there anything that comes to your mind when I say that?
Yeah, no, there does. And I forget what the name is. I'm sure if I was to go back through my video playlist, I'd find it. But there was, before the Hart mechanic sets even came out, when it was Stanley, and this is before Hart at all. It was Stanley, and there was another one that Walmart sold. It was just good enough to change out a battery, but not so good enough that you'd even want for a DIY set. It was a one-time use kind of toolkit. Maybe it was Hyper Tough, but Hyper Tough, I have some Hyper Tough stuff, which is okay. But they had some socket sets for the mechanic, 1/4 inch and 3/8. Now, they didn't go into full-on master kits, but they had little mechanic sets, 3/8 and 1/4 inch and whatever. And you could pick them up on a budget. We're talking $10 for a complete mechanics kind of style set, maybe $20 for a 3/8. Let me show you a set. I've got no idea what the name is. We're going to learn it together. My wife has had the same exact set for over 10 years. I'm going to show you.
Yeah, the only thing that comes to my mind would be the Hyper Tough. Somebody mentioned Popular Mechanics. I don't remember that one. I remember Master Mechanic, and I actually liked some of the Master Mechanic stuff. That always worked really well for me. But if there is a Popular Mechanic, then maybe that was not so popular. Just because you put the name Popular in something doesn't mean it's good. Jeff, time for you to punch out. Yeah, really appreciate you joining tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for all the things that you've done and all the things I've watched when you were live streaming at Costco. I'm sad to see that that will be limited, but I know you got a lot of good home remodeling products and projects coming up, so I'm looking forward to those. So, all right, Justin, show us what you got here.
Made by Mastercraft.
Okay. Oh yeah, that looks terrible. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that one.
So here's an honorable mention, right? Because she's had this for years, at least 7 to 10 years, somewhere in there. Her dad gave it to her. Well, cheap set, right? Well, Walmart special. Okay, no quick release, 32 tooth technology, non-locking design. Sockets are everywhere. Okay, here's my favorite. Let me find it here. Oh, here we go. 12 millimeter. Her dad had to use it.
It's cracked.
It's already split, right?
But yet you still have it, so that's pretty awesome.
He still has it. It's a made in Taiwan set. Here's a 17, which you didn't have to use. Okay. 1/4 inch ratchet as well, same exact ordeal. And then it had this super fancy, ingenuitive, extremely stiff spring hex 1/4 inch drive deal. This is before they actually came out with ones that were worth a damn.
Yeah, those
you could
never
put
work
on this and a 1/4 inch socket on the other end and pivot. Only it didn't pivot much. It was pretty taut. There's no fun way to do it. And then one 5/8 spark plug socket. But you know what?
You still have it.
Still have it. Couple of sockets all busted to hell. So I thought I'd share that because everyone would tell me, what's a good, cheap DIY? Well, how about one that doesn't break?
Yeah, one that doesn't break is good. It seems like all great sets come in gray. I don't know what it is. That must have just been the air where this was a 138 piece Allied tool set that it's missing quite a few tools in it as well. So here we are missing what would have been the razor blade, the hex keys. Oh man, those are the worst. All those hex keys that come in those little red and black holders that never stayed in place, they're gone. And then we're missing whatever would have gone right here. I'm not quite sure, but we're missing something there. And the ratchet on this one, it's not any better.
I will tell you.
Yeah, not much better. Not much better. It's made in Taiwan. It's worked. It's survived.
Now, I will tell you, we had a made, maybe it was made in China, maybe it was made in Taiwan, I'm not sure. But I will tell you, the oldest mechanic tool set that I've seen, SAE, deep and shallow, with spark plug socket, we found in an old Chevy Celebrity that I bought and sold. And it was a Kmart mechanic set special. No kidding. Did not have any other name behind it. It was a Kmart mechanic set.
Can't get more budget than Kmart.
That was budget on a budget.
Definitely. Looks like we
I
got.
gave it to my boss because he looked at it and he goes, "Wow, man." He goes, my dad, the first tool set my dad ever let me put my hands on and use that he had to fix my car was a Kmart mechanic set. And he was so taken back by the set that I had pulled out of this car, I was going to throw this shit in the trash. And he goes, "Are you going to keep it?" And I was like, "Nah, man.
No.
If you have some nostalgia behind it, you can have it." And I gave it to him. He's like, "Man, that's so cool." He goes, "You know how much I could stare at that set?" Now, his dad, I mean, God rest his soul, he's not around no more. But he misses his dad a lot. And that was one thing that, if there was one thing that I could do for him, that would have been it. And he was so excited to have that little, made in Kmart mechanics tool set that I had found in this car that I had bought and then I was going to flip and get rid of. I just give it to him and he's like, "Man," he goes, "it just reminds me of when me and my dad, the first time I ever worked on a car, and this was the set that I had." Because that was what was available back then,
Yeah. And that.
What will be available when our kids are old enough,
Right.
Oh, my dad, he saw the entire Icon launch. He was there, yada, yada. That's going to be their story,
Yeah. Yeah.
But for him, it was the Kmart mechanic set.
Yep.
That his dad used when they were putting together his car when he was a teenager, his first car, and that was cool.
And that's really what it is. It's that emotional attachment or the ability to see something and have that emotional feeling. So it's like, where were you when the Icon tools launched? I can tell you, I was at the store. I knew Justin Dow already had tools. I knew I had talked to Justin and he said, "Well, I can only do so much with them. Maybe I can ship them to you when I get done." And then I remember texting my wife. I'm like, "I'm going to be late." And then I'm like taking a picture and I'm like, "Ha ha, Justin, I got more than you." That's what I remember of the Icon tools. And then I remember coming home and I remember doing a live stream and there was like over 200 people in the stream. And then I remember weeks later, Harbor Freight changed the prices on everything because I got them all so quickly before they were even fully like double checked in the computer. Yep. And so like I felt like I got a steal because even with the 20% coupon on some of the ratcheting wrenches I have, which I do like the ratcheting wrenches, I only paid like $110 for them, and nobody can get them that cheap anymore. So right. In some senses, like I feel like I got a great deal on it. And, yeah. And it's like, dang it, I should have bought the SAE ones because those were like $99 too for the ratcheting ones. But I only needed so many. My wife was happy about me spending $900, $867 or something like that. That was good enough for one night.
Oh yeah, I could probably almost hear her in the background. "Oh, I was okay with it."
Yeah,
I was okay with it. You just told me it was going to do so good, and I wasn't okay with it until 3 months after when it did so good that it paid you back for what you spent.
Yeah, and that's really what it was. It was like, seriously, between the live stream, that really helped my channel grow. And I think, honestly, everybody wants a good product at a good price. And if Harbor Freight has one, I think it's wrong to knock them for that. But if they have a terrible product at a terrible price, then you need to tell them, because if you're not telling them, they're not going to fix the problem.
Right. Well, I don't mind telling them like what the things are that I agree or disagree with, for sure. I've always done that, like my honesty as far as how I felt they held up. And like I said, I let them know when there was premature blemishing. but I didn't have so much damage to the regards of where it was actually interfering with any of my ability to break away fasteners.
Right.
Well, I didn't learn that until months later, but in the beginning I was like, hey, you might want to look into this, And then after I got a chance to use it for a while, I'm like, okay, I still have the same exact blemishes that I had month 1, but I'm not rounding any fasteners and I've got no issues with them. The ratchets that you guys recall, I did not hand mine in and I've had no issues. So I don't know.
Well, I can tell you.
Running and running. I was like, you know what? There's a few things that I needed SAE wise. It's not that I needed to go and buy Icon, but as a fact that I use SAE about half the time I do metric, I was like, let's just go get an Icon. I mean, at this point, I've got a lot of metric stuff between Gear Wrench and Cornwell and Matco and Snap-on and etc. But I don't have a lot of SAE, so why not? So I went with the SAE route when it came to Icon, and yeah, we'll see what happens here in the coming future. But I'm pretty excited about what they've done with their quality, sort of.
Yeah, because I mean, I saw Craftsman switch stores from Sears to Lowe's, but I didn't see it get any better than where it was at. None of the products really got more innovative when they switched to Stanley. Now, I will give Stanley, the gunmetal was kind of attractive, but guess what? Stanley had black sockets for a while. Those were kind of attractive, but then the black kind of wear off, things like that. And the chrome just held up better. That was just my 2 cents.
Black were never impact rated. It was just to give you something a little bit different.
Right.
What I think that Stanley did, that was the most attractive part between them and, let's say, something like Craftsman, because 10 years ago, when I was trying to decide between Craftsman and Stanley, I went with Craftsman initially because of the other mechanics before me that all swore by them. But I'll tell you, there's a couple of mechanics that I knew back then that swore by Stanley, and the reason why they did was because the handles of their ratchets, not only were they round, so it was more comfortable for the average mechanic putting pressure behind it, but it had a few more teeth than the Craftsman ones did.
Oh yeah, the Stanley one,
42 to 32 or 32 to 46. There was about a 10 to 20 tooth difference, and I was like, and I was kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, they had the 36 for Craftsman, and then they had some 45s, some 48s, and then 60. And I like their 60 tooth ratchets from Stanley. Right. And I have 2 sets that they're phenomenal, and I really like them. But we did have somebody mention a brand that we haven't talked about. So Bobby Garrett, he's 100% Carlisle. Now, Justin, I don't know, do you guys have Napa deliver any parts to your shop?
We do.
Have you ever looked into, because it was my understanding that Napa will deliver their tools along with delivering their parts if you need something?
They do.
So that is a good standpoint, but sometimes their prices aren't overly competitive on the Carlisle products. They can be actually pretty expensive, but when you catch them on a deal, I think they're a decent tool. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. And they had the anti-slip or the tooth grip or the flank drive plus, if you will. They had their rendition, and that combination wrench set was their hot seller. They had other sellers that were like their wire snips, their Nipix, their T-Rex handled pliers that they had that were a borderline Knipix branded kind of tool, but they offered it.
Right.
Now, Napa will deliver if you order it, and especially as a business owner, they're not going to not deliver it to you.
Right.
If you want it, they got it on the shelf, they're going to bring it to you.
Yep.
If you want it and they don't have it on the shelf, they'll make sure you have it within 2 days.
Yep.
So Napa is pretty damn spot on when it comes to bringing you what you want. If you wanted a toolbox or a smoke machine or an air conditioning machine or whatever, 2 days, buddy. 2 days. They're on their way.
So I think that's really a good option for some people. I think some more beginner mechanics starting out, if they can afford some of that, because it's not like they're necessarily going to give you like that credit that you can get in the weekly pay as you go. But if you can afford it, they'll deliver it to you. They'll even warranty some of it out for you with that same process as well. It's
depending on what it is that you spend, where you work, etc. If you're just Joe Schmuckatelli from down the road,
they won't do it.
You're not going to drive to your damn house to warranty out a pair of pliers. You better run your ass down to the store to change it out, and then you better be willing to wait a week to get the replacement.
Right. If you're a shop and you're doing $4 to 20 grand or more, they probably won't have an issue with it.
Right. And they'll get it usually with you within 2 days. But yeah, if you're just Joe Schmuckatelli from down the road and you're like, I have these new Napa fucking Carlisle nippers and they broke. And I think I'm just going to go on down and change them out. You better wait a week. You can hand them in. They're like, okay, that's cool. Nice story, bro. We'll make you a sandwich. Give us a week.
and they might even want a receipt on there because technically they want your receipts. And technically, as Joe Schmo off the street, they don't always put you under a phone number and they ring it through differently. So you got to be careful when you don't have a business account that you're putting it under or working with.
Right.
And that's just a caveat with them. But I mean, that's the same thing, that power torque thing that you picked up with the bent handle. 9 times out of 10, if you're just Joe Schmo and you pick up a tool, they won't ask you for your phone number. So that means your tools don't get registered for their warranty. Right. And O'Reilly's really likes their receipts when you bring them in. Otherwise, they don't like to give you the warranty on it.
I've known you for a long time. My guys over at O'Reilly have known me for about 10 years. So I've known every person that's really been hired, fired, or even became management. So they don't even ask me for ID anymore. They're just like, oh, it's you.
That's the way most of mine are. Like somebody asked me, they're like, do you even ask for permission to video? How do you get away with video? And I'm like, at this point in time, I've already talked to somebody and they've already said, okay. I just go in and I'm like, hey, I'm here to, get some footage. And they're like, yeah, it's all good. So
yeah. Same way with me with Harbor Freight and O'Reilly's. In and out, quiet as a quiet little church mouse, no problem. AutoZone, I rarely dip into. Napa, I really dip into because here's the thing with Napa, I can showcase more on their catalog than I can in the store.
Right.
I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds worth of panoramic footage, and that's all they got for Carlisle. Okay, Evercraft, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's all they have for Evercraft. Okay, nuts and bolts and catalog. So at that point, it's like, man, I can show you more of the dang catalog than I can going to the store. My store carries nothing. They don't want to carry any Carlisle hardly. No. They don't want to carry any Evercraft. They are, hey, I got nuts, I got bolts, I got liquid. What do you want? And then that's what they're focused on. You want a tool? They'll get it for you, but you're going to wait.
Do you, is yours a corporate store or is it a private or a franchise?
Ours, private franchise kind of a store for Napa. For O'Reilly's, it's a big corporate store. For AutoZone, I think they're a corporate store as well. Okay. CarQuest, they went out of business, so they're gone. So we don't have a CarQuest or Advanced, whoever you want to call them.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a CarQuest that's now an Advanced. We have an Advanced. We have O'Reilly's. My Napa stores were all corporate 6 to 8 months ago. They're not corporate anymore. They got bought out by another local parts store, and they did away with a lot of their second Saturday of the month, 30% discounts, other things like that. They don't get their catalogs in as early, stuff like that. And so I still go. They still have a decent selection, but yeah, you're right. It's not my go-to, but they have decent tools. I do like them. Let's see, another place. Do you have any place that sells DeWalt tools, like DeWalt single sockets or anything like that?
I don't have any that sells like DeWalt hand tools, just the cordless stuff, or even the pneumatic stuff. That's the Home Depot. when it comes to their, I've heard of people saying they sell wrenches and sockets. We just don't have that. It's just not applicable.
Yeah, we have 2 local supply companies. So they're local, and they carry full line of DeWalt, and it's all their hand tools and sockets. We have another that has Gray Pneumatic. I don't know if you ever had a chance to try Gray Pneumatic.
I do have some Gray Pneumatic sockets, but the broaching is shit when it comes to cylinder head work for the inline 6. Not saying that their sockets are bad. I'm just saying that I bought the 12-point, specifically the impact 12-point sockets for using an impact gun to remove the inline 6 cylinder head bolts. And what I found is that the broaching was too shallow, and that would not allow the stud to fall deep enough for it to grab a bite. So I had to go with a 12-point, 13 millimeter Blue Power Cornwell. That was the only one that would fit over it in a chrome. That's what I did.
Let's see. We had Dale. He had to cut out. He had to go talk to his wife. And let's see what else. Amos. I ran into my first Harbor Freight teller that wouldn't let me get my 20% off on all my items. It was 4 inexpensive items. Must have been trying to move up in the rank. That's funny. To my Carlisle and gear wrench sockets, they look identical. For the plastic rails, yeah, I would say they do. My Carlisle, I bought the mid sockets, and then let's see, Steve, that's a no-go question. Where was that at? Steve, I have an engineering background, and there's certain things that I keep personal. Helps protect my family, my job, things of that nature, and so we just kind of leave it at that. So let's see, anything else here? We have a hardware store that went to DeWalt after Allen was shut down. Yeah, it was a shame when Allen got shut down. That was the whole transition around 2014 when Apex Tools came in and they bought out the Allen Corporation. And then they also moved a lot of the KD tools, got renamed into the gear wrench line that you know now today. So KD Tools, a lot of their things were produced in the USA, and it is what it is today when it looks at the gear wrench. Oh no, Steve, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You know, some people share more things, other people don't, and there's certain things that I share. I love talking about tools. I love talking about life, things of that nature. And you know, there's certain things that everybody has that they keep personal, and other people don't. So I'm pretty private when it comes to life. So you don't see a lot of my kids on here. While we might talk about them, but my wife just prefers that we keep kids off of it. You know, there's people that are
basically F you, Steve. I'm just playing, Steve. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody's run into their own situations, and there's only so many things we can.
Steve. Don't worry
There's
about
only
it,
so many things we can do to protect our family and our kids, and you know, I'd never want to put them in jeopardy as well. So, and then you know, when you work sometimes in different sectors, depending on security levels and clearances, there's certain ones that really don't want you to do anything that's overly public. So you just try not to say a whole lot of like last names, things of that nature. So we just kind of leave it at that. Icon and Carlisle non-slip crescents have to be the same. So they could be. I don't have the Carlisle ones, but if the Carlisle ones are similar to the channel lock ones, I can tell you when I hold the two up to each other, they look identical. And on a Rockwell hardness test, the material comes out the same, which to me means they've gone through the same treatment process. And when I say same, they're within 1 HRC of each other or less. They've gone through the same heat treatment process. So to me, I can tell you that the Icon and the channel lock ones are the same. You would have to tell me if the Carlisle is the same to the channel lock. Let's see, Howie, that makes 3 of us. Not sure. I bet all these are from the same place. A lot of things are, believe it or not. So, we mentioned Capri tools. Now, look at Ingersoll Rand hand tools that are going to be coming out. So that's an interesting one. I don't know, Justin, have you seen any of the things about Ingersoll Rand hand tools?
Just the impact hammer and gun and whatnot. No,
so they're going to actually come out with a hand tool line, sockets, ratchets, screwdrivers, you name it, all that stuff. And they basically just formed a relationship with All Trade, which, All Trade makes Power Built. And so Ingersoll Rand really isn't making any hand tools for them. They're just contracting All Trade to do it. So if you look at some of the Power Built line, and I don't know if you've had any experience with the Power Built line, Justin.
Oh.
I mean, everybody's a little bit different on it. I mean, some people, they're like, it's okay. Some people are like, it's not okay. I personally haven't had any bad luck with it. But I just know, have you ever heard of the All Trade story behind there, where they did a bunch of rebranding for Snap-on, and then Snap-on, they had some low quality products, let's say, that came out of the All Trade relationship, and then Snap-on severed the ties with them. And that's all I can remember, is that All Trade made some Snap-on products that didn't QC and stay up to snuff. So All Trade has always been on my list of, well, you kind of really got to watch out what those products are. But again, that was like 10 years ago. So that's all I know when it comes to looking at some of those tools. A lot of them are rebranded, so you got to watch out.
Here's my thing. We already know of let's say a fairly good chunk of rebranded tools, right?
Right.
We know who these corporate DSers are, okay, that come up with this product that sells 4 times above cost. We already know who those guys are. They have little trucks. They come through with their little flashy polo shirts, looking like they need to go for a golf tournament, but in fact, they're just selling you something that's a product that's 4 times above the market. Okay.
Right.
My little thought and consensus behind this is, I don't care if it's Capri, Ulsa, some other unknown name brand. There could be 4 new product tools that come out in the next 6 to 12 months. My question to you is, at what point for us does it really matter? Because if you think about it, we're going to eventually get to a point where we already know we were talking about rebranding and who's doing this and who's doing that. We're all aware of it. We pay X amount for this certain tool. Eventually, people are just going to buy from this one person that does it.
Right.
So at what point in time we say, oh, did you know that Snap-on, their subsidiary was Blue Point, who ends up being ATD, who ends up being also who Capri ended up buying a certain thing of fur that Olive that did this, that Heinz Ketchup came in and decided to do their little weigh in on this, and for the low cost of $50, instead of buying a Snap-on for $500, you could get the Heinz special. All the same stuff that you would have gotten out of the Ulsa, the Capri, the Blue Point, all the way up to the Snap-on level. You can get it for a low price of $50. Eventually, it's going to come down to who gives a crap. Just give me the damn thing, and so long as it's a fair price. But I think right now, all these other companies that are trying to manufacture the same exact product because they're buying from the same exact distribution plants that are redistributing the products that they're already selling to Snap-on at a lower cost. These other companies are buying from the same exact manufacturer that's manufacturing for them, but now they're selling at a lower cost, but nobody knows who they are. So that's why they're like, well, they're no good because they ain't made in America.
Right.
Well, Snap-on ain't made in America either. Believe it or not all Snap-on is. You get Blue Point, you get whatever their bastard child tool is that they bought from overseas. They put a little emblem on that says Blue Point. Guess what? It's not made in America. But they're going to charge you 3 times the cost, maybe not 4 times, because if it's 4 times the cost, they have to put the USA stamp on it. They just might not do that for Blue Point. They just might say, hey, 3 times the cost. No USA stamp, 3 times the cost. Also says, hey, 2 times the cost, but not it's half the cost of Blue Point, but made by the same company. And then it'll trickle down until eventually somebody decides, you know what? How much further down can we go to get the same exact product we've been paying out the butt for years?
Yep, that's what I think the market will morph into. I think that's what people are trying to do. I think that's what the brands that you mentioned are definitely trying to do. They're trying to produce the best quality tool that competes with the name brands. Because even if you look at some of the new marketing for like Ulsa tools, I think they have the marketing on there that says compared to the tool truck brand. I think they do. I have to go look at it. And it's like, why do we denote tool truck brand as the best?
Why do they do that?
I don't know why they do that.
Because they know that the tool truck brands are the ones buying from the same distribution manufactured company, but they're charging more. But because they're a sought after name brand, they're going to get more.
Right.
Now I'll give you a firm, for instance, Nike. Okay. Nike was not really a thing back in the day. But in order to make a quality shoe, which was made in the U.S., they could not charge what went into manufacturing to produce the amount of shoes that were required for the track and field teams for those universities that wanted Nike shoes. So they started outsourcing. They outsourced to Taiwan, to China, and so forth, because they can get more quantity, but they could also not lose the quality. They could still maintain the quantity that was coming in, people wanting to buy them. But they could not lose the quality because there were enough people there to make the shoe that of a good quality to come back, and they could sell it at a better cost than any American homeowner could do. With their waffle irons sitting inside their garage in Oregon, there's no way they could beat the average Chinaman or Taiwanese person. They could not beat them. There's no way. So they outsourced, and they made money that way. Eventually, their business grew. Nike is a prime example. You look at that in another term. How many people are sick right now with this thing that's going on? There's over 6 million people that are filing for unemployment. There's over 6 billion people that live in China.
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe even a fraction of that live in America. So when we need to outsource and we need somebody to create products for us, the reason why we've been going there all along is because we could spend less to have them produce the quantity that America has been searching for. Americans are gluttons. We spend a lot of money on consumerism, whether it's shoes or produce or whatever. So there's always a constant need of buying. You have to have somebody to make it. Right. We cannot produce it fast enough for the U.S. growth. If we wanted it all here in the U.S., it would come at a higher cost because of our economy. But if we outsourced it to somebody like China or Taiwan, we could still get the quantity that we want, still a good quality, but we don't have to pay as much to get it. And that's why people are upset. They're like, bring more jobs back to America. You say that until you have to pay American dollars to get it. Then you'll be crying.
Right.
I guarantee it.
The unfortunate fact is that people weren't willing to pay more for something when they could get it cheaper somewhere else.
Correct.
And the almighty dollar, no matter how much people say I want to spend more, the majority isn't doing it. It's just not. Do I want to buy everything American? Sure.
Would love to.
Unfortunately, 50 to 90% of my options, and I'm not just speaking tools, aren't even available to buy American. I mean, go to a dollar store or a Party America or anything like that. Even look at some of your greeting cards. You will be surprised that you'd be like, wow, I wouldn't think that paper would be very expensive. But there's still a shoot ton of paper that isn't produced in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It's still cheaper to ship in paper on shipping containers and sell it to us than it is to make it here.
Yep.
It's crazy when you think about all that stuff that goes into it. Even the US Mint, a lot of the paper, while it's all combined maybe here, they still have stuff that is coming over that's not in the US. I mean,
let me say one more thing, and I don't know if it's going to make any kind of relevance. My grandmother, who's since passed away, a few years now, she told me that when she was a little girl, you know, most kids for Christmas and what have you, they have a little list, little things they want, right? Between her sisters, and her brothers, the only thing that any of them ever asked for was chocolate. Not how much chocolate, just chocolate. Because in Germany, it was extremely difficult to get chocolate. Chocolate was something that only the rich had access to. It was a luxury. Not very many people could get it. The children knew what it would taste like because they had tasted it once upon a time ago. But it was so expensive to purchase chocolate that it was a once-a-year treat. And so for Christmas, rather than wish for a doll, rather than wish for a sleigh, rather than wish for a basketball hoop or something, one chocolate bar or a chocolate bar. That was all she wanted. That was all her brothers and sisters wanted. One chocolate bar, because it was so hard to get. And they knew it would cost their father and mother a lot of money to afford to do it, between their regular food stipend of how they were able to afford to live where they lived, how much money they needed for food, etc. But to get that one item, that one time a year, meant everything to them.
right.
I
And
think Americans forget about that when it comes to it, because we've gotten so used to buying what we want, when we want it, how we want it, exactly how we want it, right now.
right.
Immediate satisfaction.
Yep. And people can unfortunately afford it when they actually can't.
And now that the whole thing has happened, now they got to wait in line for things that are so simple that they took trivial. They took for it to be just a trivial thing. Toilet paper, laundry items, hand sanitizer, even going into the produce section or the food selection. You can't just buy the things that you normally would. You can't just buy tortillas or refried beans anymore. Most of those shelves are empty. So all the things that you didn't think that you would have ever taken for granted, now you feel like you've taken it for granted because they're gone. And now you have to wait for them to replenish themselves.
Yeah, Yoda Doug, it's JD Wentworth. It's my money and I need it now. Yeah, well, people needed a lot more money to save than what they thought they needed. And I know I've been guilty of buying things that I really wanted. I thought I needed it. I could have waited, but I didn't. But I never overextended myself. I never went in the sense that, if I bought this and there was an issue, I wouldn't be able to do X, Y, or Z for a week or a month or 3 months. I've never lived outside of my means when it comes to certain things. Have I made mistakes? Sure. Yeah, I've made mistakes. Have I bought things that I probably shouldn't have? Have I bought bad things? Yeah, I've done that. That's what return policies are for. So, that's life. But yeah, we're in a really situation now that hopefully, while it morphs things and people are able to survive, they really take a step back and understand what we really need and what we really want and what we can really wait for.
Well, also think of it this way. I mean, if you're sitting at home right now and you don't have money that you would have normally never had, there's something wrong. Because a lot of people that are being put on furlough, that are being put on unemployment, those that still have jobs that are a part of essential business, that are at home for a weekend or prolonged period of time, you can't just go out and do what it is that you would have normally done, which means you should be able to stockpile or put more money aside. And if you're not doing that concurrently, then, and you have no extra money left, there's something wrong there. Because I feel like with everything being shut down, no restaurants, right? You can't go to parks, you can't go to the mall. You should have some pretty good money set to the side. Whether you spent it, invest it, or not, you should have extra money because you're like, wow, I physically cannot go anywhere. Period.
Now,
so there should be extra just on the reserve of your check.
Yep.
You have probably more money now than you did before, unless you're on furlough or unemployment. And in that case, I feel for you, but that means you're on the retail side of the consumer side of the clinical side. There's nothing I can do for you there. But if you're an essential worker and you're still making pay dirt and you are at home and you don't have extra money, there's something wrong, because you should be having a lot of extra money as an essential worker right now.
No.
You should be side.
Yeah, and I do want to mention, so Yoda Doug did put in, he said, no, Chris, watch my video later. There are not return policies. So I guess it really depends on where you're at. So for instance, we don't have a curfew in place where I'm at. We don't have, well, we do have some essential job restrictions. We don't have lines waiting to get into Sam's or Costco or things like that. We're still just basically told, yeah, you can be about six feet apart and you're good. So where I'm at, we don't have any restrictions on return policies other than one store that I'm aware of. It's a grocery store. But outside of that, I haven't seen any corporate signs at Lowe's or Home Depot, any other place. There wasn't any at the Tractor Supply Company. There wasn't any at two of the other grocery stores that we went to. So while I agree that there may be some places that have return policy restrictions, everybody's hit differently right now during this time. And maybe it's only a matter of time before it trickles to other places, but it might not also, because unfortunately there's so many different states and counties that operate differently.
No, you're right. For
Like,
us, we get fines. If I go lower desert, I'm traveling and I'm not an essential business, I'm not going to and from picking up produce, we can be fined a hefty fine for traveling when we shouldn't be. Up here in the area that we're in, we have not gotten fined yet, but they have been pulling people over at random to see what they're doing, etc. You can't go to parks. Parks are shut down. The banks, they're limiting it to anywhere between 5 and 10 people at the most inside the building, depending on square footage. There's the 6-foot rule too. It's been a nightmare to say the least, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. Yeah, I've heard some of the grocery stores are doing it, but that's about it. And I can understand it, but like at the same time, it's like, wow, if I pick up this deli meat and it's bad, do I need to sample it in the store to make sure it's not rancid? Because I mean, I don't return a whole lot of stuff to the grocery store, but every once in a while, I mean, I get something that's bad, so I guess you just have to eat that now.
Or you take it back. to exchange it for something that's not bad.
Yeah, and now apparently there's one, like I said, one grocery store that I know of that says they won't take any returns back.
For us, it was weird because we no more than bought like a block of pre-sliced cheese from the deli within 1 week. This is unusual. Within 1 week, half of it molded over. Well, it's been a week. So at that point, we got to eat it. Now, if it was same day or next day, the grocery store is pretty accommodating for us taking it back and exchanging it. But if we've had it for 1 week in the same exact refrigerator, whatever, and half of it overgrew mold, yeah, it's trash. You got to buy it again. So maybe that same block of cheddar slices that we got would normally last a month. That was done in 1 week. Well, yeah, we eat 3 weeks, and so now we got to buy it basically once a week, every week for the next month. That's how that whole thing went.
Yeah. Yep. I can understand that. Yeah. It's just how it is. The different counties, states, they're all going to have some different rules. I couldn't imagine. I've heard other states that have
shipping thing. Like maybe it took them just enough time to ship it, or however the thing was shipped from truck to truck, or from maybe they bought it in Hemet and they transferred it over to Yucca, and it took just that long enough for it to just slightly spoil. So when we bought it, we thought it was good. And within 1 week, half of it got moldy. I'm thinking, well, usually it would take a month. So maybe there wasn't enough demand before, and now they're producing it so fast that it's just sitting on a truck waiting to get transferred, and it's just in the heat a little bit longer than it's supposed to. So now all of a sudden we have faster mold than we're normally used to.
I know my brother worked frozen foods at a grocery store back in high school, and he said, he had a whole pallet of frozen food to put out. Well, he got called to the front to do registers for what seemed like an hour, but it ended up being like 2 hours. Well, you can only leave frozen food out so long. It was still good. It just refroze. So all your ice cream had that refreeze to it. And you're like, oh. But that could have happened with your cheese. It could have sat just a little bit longer before somebody got a chance to put it away. It's still good. It just reduces the shelf life.
All right.
But that happens. Thankfully, my tools don't typically get left out in the rust or left out in the rain and rust or anything like that. But all right. Well, is there any other different budget tool brands that you can think of that we haven't mentioned, or any just really good budget tool deals that you've seen here?
Things that we haven't mentioned, because I know that typically they don't come in master mechanic sets, would be Duralast, Power Torque, and then there is also one more that Pet Boys sells too. Not GM. There's an actual brand, but whatever. We'll stick to the couple of auto parts. We've talked about big stores. We've talked about Amazon. We've talked about tool trucks. How about auto parts store mechanic sets? So outside of big box stores, Amazon and online stores, and that what you can get from a tool truck, what about auto parts stores? So we mentioned this Power Torque, this ratchet that I got. One ratchet. Now they also have socket sets, right? AutoZone sells Duralast. O'Reilly sells Power Torque. And then Napa sells Carlisle, which we touched a little bit on, especially even Evercraft. But then Pet Boys, they have their own rendition, which also ends up being like GM, I think, for another subsidiary that they go for. But how do you feel about auto part mechanic sets on the fly, or just in general? Your tool set, an auto part store mechanic set.
Man, unless there's a stellar deal, which there typically isn't, and if there is, it's probably because they're closing out the brand to switch over, like Advanced Auto Parts did with their gear wrench stuff. They had some stellar 50% off a lot of their gear wrench before they switched over to their Tech Correct brand. But I typically don't see a really great deal on tools at the auto parts stores. What I do see, though, is a lot of specialty things that you're not going to get at the same auto parts store or even in general, like O'Reilly's, their Power Torque brand. They have some very interesting low profile sockets that you can't get anywhere else. You go to Duralast, you used to get really, really good quality, and then they recently switched over to a lot of Chinese Apex tools, which if you look at a lot of the Duralast now, it's rebranded gear wrench stuff. Advanced Auto, they went to Tech Correct, which is rebranded gear wrench. It literally looks exactly like gear wrench. It just says Tech Correct on it. And that was the strangest move that I ever thought. Don't know why they did that. Napa, the Napa Carlisle and Evercraft, nobody really copies that. That's really their own. It's really confusing that they have all these different brands out there. It causes a lot of confusion, and there's a difference in quality between them too. So it's so strange. And I would never personally go to one of the auto parts stores and buy a tool set unless it wasn't something that's on sale, and I usually pre-buy everything for a future job. I don't ever go to the auto parts store and be like, yeah, I need this because I'm going to do this job today. I always have the tools that I bought somewhere else. That's my
curiosity would be, let's say this. Let's say you bought a mechanics socket ratchet set, maybe even some ratchets and a couple of ratchet wrenches from your local Lowe's. But Napa now carries the Craftsman lineup as well. How does the warranty process work if you bought it from Lowe's, but because you live closer to a Napa, will they accommodate the exchange? That's what I'd like to know. Because right now, currently, my Napa does not stockpile nor carry Craftsman, but it's in the catalog.
Right.
Lowe's carries and now accommodates, whereas before, when I first tried to warranty something out, they refused to warranty anything. As soon as they got into their own and they started really pushing the Craftsman and they got the individualized sockets and so forth, then they started warrantying them out. But now Napa, during the first quarter, has started to relinquish their Craftsman brand into the Napa lineup, but they don't carry it on the shelf. So are they going to still keep the Evercraft? I know they're going to keep Carlisle, but are they going to keep Evercraft? If they're going to keep all three brands, because I even saw they had a gear wrench section too. So are they going to do Evercraft, Carlisle, gear wrench, Craftsman? And then how are they going to deal with the warranty aspect when it comes to Craftsman or gear wrench? Because they've been dealing with Evercraft and Carlisle so long. How are they going to accommodate those people that had purchased tools from other stores? Are they going to accommodate them? Are they going to accommodate them in a timely manner? If they work in an auto shop who bought tools from them specifically, are they going to deliver? Do you have to go to the actual store? These are all questions that I have when it comes to Napa, Craftsman, and the gear wrench lineup, really.
So I can answer maybe some of those. And again, everybody's experience is going to be a little bit different. The Napa experience so far is they weren't sure how they were going to handle the warranties, and they didn't know how much they were going to keep the Craftsman coming into their stores after the holiday season. So it actually must have been selling fairly well that they continued to have more Craftsman in the store come Q2. So they have another full page in their Real Deals Q2 for Napa. But it's my understanding, the last time I've talked to them, they're still directing people towards a 1-800 number for any and all Craftsman warranty issues. They're not doing any in store. If they are, then you're lucky, because every Napa store I know is all going to a 1-800 number and they're taking care of the Craftsman warranties. If that's a good experience, I don't know. I haven't dealt with the warranty through them. Now I can tell you the Lowe's one, they have changed it since their initial rollout, and it's still, Yoda Doug will like this, they still go through the process where they're going to ask you for a driver's license. They have to do a manager override to not have the driver's license portion entered, which they're now instructed not to do. They're instructed not to override the prompt for the driver's license, which is terrible. I hate that. I will blast them all day long that I think that is the wrong thing, because that's not how the Craftsman brand is supposed to be warranted at. Now, I will also tell you that they are supposed to do like or similar item, even if it wasn't purchased there, which now they're directing you more towards the 1-800 number. Now, here's the interesting thing about that 1-800 number. If you call it during business hours and you go through, they will ask you, did you buy this Craftsman item at the store? If you pick no, it actually routes you to the Sears Craftsman line. And then here's the kicker on it. They'll ask you what the part number is. And if they have it, they'll be like, okay, well, let me come back to you in a little bit. And then they will come back and they're like, okay, we're going to issue credit for that item so that you can purchase it on Sears.com. So they will then issue credit that takes anywhere from another 3 to 7 business days for you to purchase that item on Sears.com, which is basically like a gift card. Then you will go to purchase that item and you will find out that it's like your Shop My Way rewards, and you will then have to pay shipping on that item to have it delivered to you under that warranty process. So now tell me how wonderful that process is, that what you used to be able to walk into a store, or they would just apparently, like Stanley would just drop ship you something. Sears is making you pay shipping for your item that was supposed to have a lifetime warranty that they never did before.
That's nuts.
That is my experience on it. And I can tell you that because I've actually had to warranty out something that went through those prompts at Lowe's that jumped me over to Sears. And now I have all these Shop My Way rewards, and I can't get free shipping because if you redeem any Shop My Way rewards, it specifically states in their terms and services that doesn't count towards the $49 or $59 for free shipping, because it's your total price after any redemptions or rewards. So one of the ratchets that I broke, yeah, I can warranty it out, but I'm going to have to pay $5 to $6 to have it shipped to my house. So I'll just go over to Ace Hardware because the way they do it, they just give you that store credit and you get to keep the tool. You don't do anything with it. There's like, just throw it away.
Ah, wow, can't beat that.
So if you guys want to try that out, that's up to you. If you break a Craftsman tool, try to call up that 1-800 number, see how it goes for you. Maybe your experience will be better than mine, but I can tell you how you can break a ratchet. Go watch my channel.
Well, Chris, that's all I got, man.
Yeah.
I'll be around if you ever want to BS. I'm off today, tomorrow, the next day, until, well, things change. But yeah, I only work Tuesday through Friday now.
I hear you. That's kind of how it is too. Things, well, again, they haven't completely buckled down over here. They're starting to slow down. I don't think I'll get out to the stores like I used to. So that last Harbor Freight walk around might be my last Harbor Freight walk around for a little while, but we'll have to see how things go.
I feel like that was my last little Shara too, because everything is pretty much on lock. And I'm like, okay, well, hopefully people go back and watch. If they don't, they don't. But I can't guarantee you that we're going to have anything spectacular for a little while, because again, with the whole thing that's going on, they're just not letting a lot of people in.
Right. And you know what? Apparently you and I have a ton of tools at home. We should try to figure out how we can make videos with the stuff we already have.
I'm working on it now. I've been trying to work on videos. I'm like, you know what? Let's just focus on one. When I work Tuesday through Friday or whatever, if my boss is cool and I got a job that's interesting, I will show you how to use this one specific tool, and I will show you how it works in the real world, and hopefully get something out of it, and that'll give you something. But as of hey, I went to Harbor Freight and I saw a bunch of really cool stuff, and here it is. I just don't have it right now. Everything's on lock.
I hear you. Well, guys, really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you're not already a subscriber to my channel, you probably are because you're here, but every now and then there's people that just wander in off the interwebs that just happen to be like, oh, somebody's live, we're going to click on them. Maybe you checked us out, maybe you didn't, maybe you're still here. Hit that subscribe button, not only for me, but head on over to Justin Dow's channel. It's one of those ways because, you know, stuff happens when you do these live streams, but he's a pretty cool guy. You know, he'll give you that real world experience when it comes to working in an automotive shop all day long, every day long, except for right now because, you know, you can't get there. But if you want to see somebody that really works with his tools and really, really is tough on them, it's that guy. No, come on, Chris. Yeah, you think I would get that right. But anyways, make sure you go over to Justin's channel. It will be in the description down below. And really appreciate you guys all tuning in. And as always, work smarter, not harder. And we'll catch you in the next live stream or video. Later.
Deuces.